Wolf Pack, what is going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street. RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves. Here with your Week 13 sit start show. Oh, baby, 2 more weeks till the fantasy playoffs. We are getting so close, Wolf Pack. I cannot wait to dive in some crucial news, some crucial and very difficult sit start decisions that you're going to have to make this week in Week 13. So come on in, get all those questions in. We will be happy to answer every single one we get here from 8 to 10 a.m. So pumped to be here on this early Sunday morning. We're going to cover some quick news, a couple quick Thursday night football recaps, and then it is on to all of your questions. Plus, midway through the show, making the launch of a very, just been working so hard behind the scenes on a very awesome project that I cannot wait to launch and show you guys. So please do stick around for that. And as you come on in, the thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets, it all does greatly help us get out to more people, especially as it happens early on in the show. So come on in, get every single question on in there. Let the mailbag start to ratchet up over here, and we will be getting to those questions momentarily. But just to recap real quick, that Thursday night action, great game actually between the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Ended up being more of a shootout than expected. The passing game's igniting. Dak going for 299 and 3 touchdowns, and CeeDee Lamb being the monster he is. 17 targets, 12 catches, 116 yards, and the score. What a huge day. Jake Ferguson also coming through with 77 yards and a touchdown, and Brandon Cooks the recipient of the other one, 45 yards and the score. Really solid day from this juggernaut offense that we're just seeing potentially be those league winners down the stretch here since that bye week. They have been insane. Dak in that passing game. Pollard also did get into the end zone. Didn't still look great. It's been a tough year for Tony Pollard, but still 20 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Just wanted to remind you guys all that Rico Dowdle, too. He is the handcuff. He looks great every time he comes on in. Still out there in a ton of leagues. So if you need a handcuff, he is one of the top. CJay wrote a great handcuffs article. And my man has a birthday party for his grandmother, so I'll be riding solo, by the way. Shout out CJay over there. So this will be the solo show today. But come on. Last time we did that, we had over 100 live people and 1,000 views and 250 questions. So, hey, maybe fingers crossed we get the good luck again today. We'll see. It's all because of you guys, those likes, those shares, those retweets. Seahawks side, Gino really more confident than anyone probably could have expected against a really strong Cowboys defense. 3 touchdowns, 334 yards, a rushing touchdown as well. Probably wasn't in many lineups given the tough matchup, but man, that was a impressive day. 134 yards and 3 scores going to DK Metcalf. Oh, I know on Thursday night, there's definitely some questions on DK. He's been so hit or miss throughout the year with really just limited ceiling. Well, we saw the ceiling today. I know my man, The Truth, was all in on getting DK in the lineup. So hopefully you listen to him over me on Thursday. Tyler Lockett, 47 yards, 5 catches. The big thing, Jackson Smith-Njigba, 11 targets, team high here. 7 catches, 62 yards, barely missing out on a touchdown as well. Could have been a huge day. And then Zach Charbonnet, a guy we told a lot of people to start, coming through with about 18 PPR fantasy points, 60 yards and a touchdown on the ground, 39-yard reception. Really solid day there for Zach Charbonnet, playing nearly all the snaps. He did suffer a knee injury. It's reported as a bruise. It does sound like Ken Walker is still going to be banged up for quite some time. They called it a complicated oblique injury. Whatever that means, we know Pete Carroll never ends up giving transparency on what he is actually talking about. So it seems like Charbonnet, with an extended week of rest, could be in line to make another start against the Niners. I don't think we'll see that insane workload we've been seeing, 80% of the snaps, 90% of the workload, all that stuff. But we will see come next week if he is getting right for that tougher matchup. It does soften up in your fantasy playoffs should Ken Walker remain out. All right, Wolfpack, that's our Thursday night football recap. About 15 of you here early with us. Love to see you. Thank you so much. And again, those early thumbs up, I know it's annoying, but please do consider that button. It does help us get out to more people. So we've ripped through some Week 13 news. There's tons of news. There's tons of buys. It's going to make your sit-start decisions hard. We already got about 15 questions in the mailbag. You'd love to see that too, the early risers. Get those questions in. We'll be hammering through them momentarily. Let's go. Bailey Zappi starting for the Pats against the Chargers. You'd have to be very desperate, though. I get that this is the most generous pass defense in the league to quarterbacks, to wide receivers, third most to tight ends. But it's Bailey Zappi. It's this moribund Patriots offense. I want nothing to do with it. Joe Flacco, I'd rather stream instead of Bailey Zappi. He's playing elevated over PJ Walker here with Dorian Thompson-Robinson out with a concussion. Joe Flacco will be starting. I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I mean, the guy's just coming off the couch. I'm not expecting a ton here, But this Browns offense has been very capable. David Njoku's been balling out. Amari Cooper's having a solid season. I wouldn't be shocked if Flacco comes in here and is actually slinging this thing around the yard today. So I'm intrigued to see what Joey Flacco does with DTR out with the concussion. That moves us on to running backs. Travis Etienne, he's questionable for week 13 against the Bengals. He's expected to play. They're optimistic that he will suit up, but just worth tossing out there. Dearness Johnson still out there in 92% of leagues. Why not just stash him, even if you don't end up using him, because again, you have to decide today. They play on Monday night. You're probably not using Dearness Johnson, but if Etienne misses, we have seen Dearness Johnson really thrive as a starter. Had 2 top 7 performances just a couple seasons ago in that Cleveland system, and he has clearly taken over Tank Bigsby as that guy. So at minimum, when you're talking about handcuffs, we talked about Rico Dowdle earlier, talking about Dearness Johnson now. Those are guys you definitely like to stash here heading into your fantasy playoffs. Should injury strike, these are the guys that could end up going on league-winning stretches, and Dearness has been that type of league winner in the past. Aaron Jones, he is going to be out. It's such a gross attack anyways. A.J. Dillon will probably get a ton of volume. He'll probably not do a whole lot with it, so just keep him in mind. But ultimately, nothing to really get excited about. De'Von Achane, and speaking of getting excited, I just moved a little bit just saying his name downstairs. De'Von Achane is going to be playing. I get it. I know last time out, he lasted a grand total of 1 play before getting knocked out and getting you 1 point, ruining your week. I get it. That's scary. If you don't want it to happen to you again, you can't absorb the risk. I do understand. But let's just quickly hit upon the fact that when he played those 3 full games he was in, 154 yards from scrimmage on average, an average of 32 PPR fantasy points. That is 7 more than Christian McCaffrey. All 3 of those full games were top 5 running back performances. And now he gets a Commanders team without Montez Sweat, Chase Young. They have been getting destroyed. Season highs for Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson, 30-plus combined backfield points for the Cowboys, for the Seahawks. They've been abysmal since they traded away their D-lineman. All of this is to say, I think you can probably get the idea of where I'm leaning. I'm putting Achane in when I have him. I'm playing him over pretty much most running backs. Honestly, Devin Singletary versus him is a question I'm dealing with right now, and I know Singletary significantly safer, but you guys know me, upside chaser. I go for the ceilings, and I'm having a really hard time keeping Achane against a bad team. It probably won't be a full workload, but honestly, though, they held him out last week when they said he could go. They held him out when they said he could return to the lineup in that game. I think Mike McDaniel really wants to make sure he is fully ready to go. We can't ever predict what's going to happen the first snap. Does he take a bad hit? Does he back out? Yes, that would be just hideous and ruining, and I get that floor exists, and I know a lot of you probably don't want to stomach it. For me, the reward of a top 5 running back every single time he makes it through a game is worth it, especially during these bye weeks. So let us know if you have De'Von Achane questions. I know that's going to probably be a pretty big one today, but please do let us know if you've got a question on him. Moving forward on the running back notes, the last one I have here, and it actually is a sneaky big one, is Jerick McKinnon is Packers. And now I know that's not big for Jerick McKinnon himself, but ultimately that is big for Isaiah Pacheco, who ended up being a complete and utter workhorse, pretty much no CEH, and especially as a receiving. That was the big boost for him. He also gets a very plus matchup here against Green Bay. I'd actually rather have, I know this might make me sound like a psycho, I'd rather have Pacheco in my lineup today than Austin Eckler. I've been worried with Austin Eckler, and someday he is going to get fully over that ankle sprain, maybe look back like Austin Eckler again, and maybe that's this week against the Patriots. We'll see. I hope so for my fantasy teams. I have him everywhere. But ultimately, I'd rather have Pacheco for sure in my lineups with this Jerick McKinnon news. He had 22 points last week. I think we can expect another 18 to 22 points again this week. Let us know if you have Pacheco questions, but the real answer is you should not have questions on him at all. That wraps up our running back news. The receiver position had a few crucial notes, especially this morning. So as we get into those again, 25 here, love to see it. Please do, again, consider those thumbs up. It really does help us get out to more people. Let's get those numbers up, the likes, the shares, the retweets, the new subs. It all is so appreciated, Wolfpack. Thank you again for your Week 13 attention here this morning. Let's get to those questions soon. We've got to talk about, though, Keenan Allen. He is listed as questionable for Sunday due to a quad injury, but he's playing. He's going to be in. He said it's not bad, that he feels, quote, this is light. This is easy, honestly. This is not considered bad at all. Talking about how this late in the season, I feel great. I couldn't ask to be any better. The man is a marvel this year. Obviously, he's at that weird cliff for wide receivers for many of them, and he's having the best season of his career right now. I'm not going to question it, playing that CeeDee Lamb role in Kellen Moore's offense, 16, 17, 18. He is just getting absolutely peppered with targets. You know that you have Keenan Allen in your lineups, but it's good to know he's back. The one that was questionable entering today is Chris Olave, listed as questionable. He is coming in, though, with the concussion, expected to play, according to Adam Schefter. This is really big news. I know a lot of you might be worried. Do I play him? I know the concussion is that sketchy. He's had 2 concussions in his NFL career. I know that's all worrisome here. But ultimately, they're getting Detroit. Rashid Shaheed is out. We know Michael Thomas is still out. In Michael Thomas's first game out last week, Chris Olave put up 119 yards in the first half. He was shaping up to be an absolute monster. I mean, he was an absolute monster. He had a huge day in just a half of action, and that was a bottom 3 matchup for wide receivers. And then now we get Chris Olave ultimately playing against Detroit, who has given up 4 in their last 5 games, top 8 performances to quarterbacks. They've given up 3 straight top 7 wide receiver 1 weeks. I mean, this is a defense that you can absolutely blitz. So I am all for getting Chris Olave back into my lineups, making sure to hit him today. I love him at 6,900 on DraftKings as well. So ultimately, that also bumped up Derek Carr for me as well to the quarterback 14. Last couple notes here on wide receivers. T. Higgins was removed from the injury report. He will play. Tough to trust with Jake Browning, but it is T. Higgins. It's a really, really loaded bye week. So I ultimately could see T. Higgins getting tossed into those lineups. Cooper Kupp removed from the Week 13 injury report. He will play. It's a tough Browns defense, the fewest passing yards allowed in the league, second fewest points to wide receivers in the league. It's tricky. Kupp has not been great. Again, with these type of buys, though, it's going to be hard to not have him in there. Rashee Rice doing a good job of making his game more Patrick Mahomes friendly. He really has started to spike. We just got him fresh off a season high in route share and receptions and yards and touchdowns and fantasy point. I mean, the guy had a monster 18 fantasy point day last time out there. I love Rashee Rice today. I'm tossing him in my lineup where I have him. I think he absolutely should be in there. I have him ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, for example, if that helps you get a measuring stick. And then Demario Douglas, he's not playing in Week 13. Chargers, it's such a good matchup. So should somebody be streamable in his absence? Yeah. If there's anybody, my guess would be Devontae Parker. But again, it's Bailey Zappi, the Patriots. How tied to this offense do you want to be? My answer is very little is what you should be answering that question. I actually think Hunter Henry, probably the more intriguing guy here in this offense today. If you're desperate for a tight end streamer, rather give up a tight end spot than a wide receiver spot today. So Demario Douglas being out, somebody probably will benefit, although maybe the Patriots just only score 3 points. Like that's become the norm here. They'll give up 10 points on defense and lose. It's abysmal. It's pathetic. I hate New England right now. We've been spoiled. Noah Brown, he is listed as questionable, but expected to play today versus the Chargers with Dalton Schultz, as we're going to get to tight ends in a second, out as well. Noah Brown might walk into a solid target share. Last 2 games out, what was it, 174 yards, 153? He had back-to-back 25 fantasy point days in PPR leagues. If you're desperate for a fill-in this week, you got to preface that with Nico Collins was out. And so, of course, there was a big gaping target share open there for Noah Brown. But ultimately, he did get peppered those last couple of games. So 4,500 on DraftKings with nobody playing him at, in your lineups here this week. He's a top 36-ish wide receiver here, fringe guy, because Dalton Schultz does account for a decent share here. I could see Noah Brown getting there for you. So if you have some bye week blues here, I know Thursday we got a lot of questions, and it was ugly. And Noah Brown was one of the options. Noah Brown is definitely going to be potentially considered for your lineups today. You got to also think about Marquise Brown. He is going to be in there. He did not practice all week, but ultimately Jonathan Gannon was not lying when he said it. We're optimistic because Schefter tweeted out today he's expected to play. It's a good matchup against Pittsburgh. He's been getting dusted on the outside wide receivers, unless Joey Porter shadows him, which he has not been. He's been one of the best corners, that rookie, in the league. But I do think Marquise Brown, fresh off a 12-target day, could definitely be considered for your lineups. Trey McBride also for the Cardinals, expected to give it a go despite the groin injury. Both those guys, I think, are in play. I could see them getting completely swallowed by this Pittsburgh team, but ultimately, Kyler Murray has brought some nice stability there on offense. Chris Godwin was the other guy that's questionable here at wide receiver today. He is expected to go, according to Adam Schefter, but he is going to be warming up in pregame and making sure it feels okay first. Is he really that worth sticking it into your lineup anyways? Chris Godwin has been so mediocre. It has definitely been the Mike Evans show this year. So I don't know that you really want to wait it out for Chris Godwin and see how he's doing. And what if it flares up? Seems like a headache that I personally don't want to deal with. I'm benching him where I have him. For guys like not Gabe Davis, young buy, but let us know if you have a question like Jaden Reed, for example. If he's in, I'd rather have him in my lineup than Chris Godwin. He is questionable, Jaden Reed, speaking of him, but he is practiced on Friday. It seems like he's trending towards playing this week. He's been the wide receiver 12, 11, and 21 across his last 3 games. I really like getting Jaden Reed into my lineups wherever I have him. Last couple notes here, moving to tight end is Dalton Schultz is out. It definitely does take a ding. The Denver Broncos are one of the best matchups, most points allowed to tight ends on the season, despite getting stiffer these last few weeks, especially at wide receiver. They're still getting bled out by running backs and tight ends. Does that make Brevin Jordan viable? Honestly, yes, at 2,500 on DraftKings. If you're desperate for a tight end fill-in this week, Brevin Jordan has already caught a touchdown this year, even in that backup role from CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud raved about him throughout the week this week. I could see Brevin Jordan having himself a decent day. He's a fine enough athlete. He's shown glimpses in the past. If you're desperate for a tight end streamer, you can do worse than Brevin Jordan. Let us know in the questions what your tight end situation is looking like. But you could absolutely see a world where Brevin Jordan is a guy that you have to start. If you're not have to start, but I mean, again, a viable fill-in. Zach Ertz has been released. The Philly Inquirer reporting that the Eagles are expected to have interest in him. Does he make sense as a stash right now? Maybe for playoff-minded teams that lost Mark Andrews or needs a fill-in. I could see Ertz. He was, remember, one of the highest guys in tight end target share to start out this year. Dallas Goedert, on the other side of that note, is doubtful for today. It did practice limited on Friday, so it does seem like he might be trending towards a return. But let's say he misses another week or two. Ertz, the number 1 tight end for the Eagles, would be a very viable fantasy starter. So it's a tough week with so many buys. I don't know if you'll have the bench space to stash Ertz. If you have a question, can I drop this guy to stash Ertz? Let me know. It's not a must play by any means. There's no waiver wire guy today other than maybe Dearness Johnson. Then I'm like, yeah, make sure you go out there and get this guy, see him on your bench at this point. But Ertz is one of those guys just to keep that forward thinking alive for. And then last couple D notes is Miles for the Browns. Myles Garrett was removed from the injury report. Would have made a much nicer matchup for your Rams today had that absolute stud been out. Denzel Ward also not playing. He actually is not playing, though. So that is nice for Puka Nacua to have Ward out here. He has definitely been one of those bigger shadows. Maybe Cooper Kupp as well gets a little bit of a boost here without him. But Garrett putting on that pass rush, stymieing the run there. That wraps up all the notes, Wolfpack, that I had to go over. It is time for your mailbag. We got about 40 of you here live with us. We love to see it. Thank you so, so much for being here today. One more call for that thumbs up. I did want to say that while you're waiting in line, there's one thing I had to launch today. We've been working behind the scenes so hard on this. So if you give me just 2 more minutes to show you something real quick. This is App.Rotobot.AI, and I'm so proud of the work. We've got an awesome team that's been just banging away at this all season, and it is phenomenal. Everybody knows ChatGPT at this point, AI, all that is becoming the rage. And we have been working behind the scenes on a 24/7, your fantasy football guru that you can always talk ball with. And this is the interface right here. I will say at the top, it's not perfect, but we are trying to get more and more people on here to help it learn and help it start to grow, because the more questions it gets, it starts to learn on its own. So you can ask it anything, like the guy of the day today, De'Von Achane, for example. De'Von Achane, should I play him, right? You can do any sit starts, waivers, stashes, any of that stuff. And it is giving really, really solid answers. And the more questions we give it, the more feedback we can give it, the better. And it is pretty quick. The speed has been improving greatly. We are so proud of this product. And as you can see, so as you're waiting for your question, go check out App.Rotobot.AI, sign up, get some questions on in here. It is going to give you some great insight as you wait for my insight as well. And then you guys can also give us some feedback. It would mean the world. I know if you're watching this live show, you're an RSJ truther, you're an RSJ supporter, and you're the type of people, we're not going live to the general public or launching on the website quite yet. We want to do a kind of soft beta launch here, so we get it in front of the people. You know, you come on from the live stream today, we're going to load you up with 30 free credits, 30 free questions. If you want to use them all day, save them. It's up to you. But ultimately, go check out App.Rotobot.AI. As you can see, given all this information on De'Von Achane, he's expected to make his return. The Dolphins will be facing the Commanders' 11th best matchup for running backs, allowing 20.3 points per game. He'll likely have a significant impact. He could accumulate 150 all-purpose yards, given that he finds the end zone all the time. Upside is high, making him a valuable option assuming he's cleared, which he has been. So ultimately, again, we can't tell you to expect perfection here with Rotobot.AI, but it is such a great tool. So if you're out there, you're willing to give us a look on there. I know my man Campanelli probably behind the scenes right now, logging right in. Check it on out, App.Rotobot.AI. We've been working so hard on it, and any type of feedback, you can hit me up at Roto Street Wolf with anything you have. We'll maybe rip some live questions in there today as well. I know you're here for my insight right now, so I'm going to pop this off for a second and get now on into your mailbag. Thank you guys, though, for listening to that. And again, App.Rotobot.AI is where you want to check that on out. Now let's pull in our first call of the day. Mr. Campanelli, how are you doing today, brother?
What's going on, Wolf? How you doing today?
Very good, very good.
Let's make this short and quick, shall we? Half PPR. I don't know if I trust Deontay with that Steelers offense. Would you run out Perry over Deontay?
I would not, no, especially with Olave now playing too. That's just going to – maybe A.T. Perry's out there for a bunch of routes. Maybe he gets into the end zone. If Jameis was playing, I'd feel a little bit better. But Deontay did have 8 targets, 4 catches, 50 yards, barely had a touchdown knocked out of his hands last week. Like, if he had that touchdown, you probably wouldn't even be thinking about this one at all. I love that under the first game without Matt Canada, 400 yards of offense, the first time in 44 games since he's been hired. It just seemed like so much more of a functional team, and Arizona's not a scary matchup at all. A.T. Perry, without Chris Olave, might have been in consideration. That would have been a much tougher question. But with Olave back, you can't do it. I don't even know if A.T. Perry's worth holding on to. You might want to look ahead to maybe a playoff defense or stashing a handcuff, something of that nature at this point.
Awesome. And then because of Schultz's injury, would you run out Logan, Jonnu, or Logan or Jonnu or Hunter?
I would go Logan Thomas versus Hunter Henry is where I roll for this one. I'm not going Jonnu Smith. I'm not trusting the Falcons for anything at this point other than maybe Bijan Robinson. Logan Thomas versus Hunter Henry is tricky. My gut's just saying Hunter Henry today with no Demario Douglas. They're going to need a number one option. It could be Devontae Parker. It could end up being Hunter Henry, though. And against the Chargers, somebody's going to get there. Even as bad as the Patriots are, someone's going to be catching some passes because that secondary is so abysmal. So I'm leaning, I think you go there. Hunter Henry, I guess, over Logan Thomas. Thomas is definitely the safer option, but part of me just thinks, I don't know, I have a gut feeling that Hunter Henry is going to have himself a solid day today.
Okay, and then just to let you know, in your rankings on tight ends, you got to take Schultz out.
I know. I think I pushed that through this morning, didn't I?
I was on it. Let me double check the website before you went live, and I saw him again.
Double check that for me. Shoot it out in the private chat. Let me know if that's out because I took it out this morning. I thought I pushed through the update.
I have him you still have him ranked at 9.
Oh, really? Right now?
Yeah.
All right, I'll double check that. Thank you, Campanelli, for the heads up. I thought I pushed through my update, but it must not have gone through. So thank you, brother.
You got it.
Later, man. Cheers. All righty, Wolfpack. Well, we'll be updating the rankings while we talk to all your questions, all your sit starts. Thank you again so much. Over 40 of you here. You love to see it. Again, those thumbs up really keep helping us get out to more people. Would be so appreciated. And one last call again, App.Rotobot.AI. That would be the spot to go. I'm going to put it in the chat right here. App.Rotobot.AI equals your 24/7 fantasy football guru. Definitely go and check this on out. Sign up, get some questions, help us improve. Like we know it, there's going to be some things that aren't perfect with it. It is a beta launch, but with our Wolfpack, we wanted our best fans here that are here with us every Sunday morning to get those sit starts. You're the people we want to grow this with that we know can help us improve this more than ever before. So we are so pumped and proud of where it's at, and your guys' insight could really continue to help us grow. So it's in the chat now. App.Rotobot.AI is where you want to go to check out App.Rotobot.AI, your 24/7 fantasy football guru. This is the beta, and we would appreciate so much if you could get on there while you're waiting for me to get to your question here. Check out what does the app have to say, and then DM me at Roto Street Wolf. Do you like it? What are some things we can improve? All that good stuff. All righty, on to your questions. Wolfpack, let us go. Brent Estrella camping out at 5:40 in the morning. Awesome stuff. Start 2 wide receivers, Puka, Deontay, or Josh Downs. I love his target share. I love Josh Downs' target share too. They have been Murphy Bunting, though, the Titans, one of the hardest matchups for slot wide receivers. I just have to go Puka. I actually do go Josh Downs, though, over Deontay. I just realized it's start 2 here. So I am benching Deontay there. I know I just mentioned to start Deontay Johnson for our man Campanelli, but that was with A.T. Perry as the other option. You have 2 great options here. Brent Estrella, I would not mess with that. I would absolutely go Puka. And then, yeah, Josh Downs, he had 14 targets last week, right in line with Michael Pittman. I love Downs, too. I know it's a tough matchup for slot receivers, but ultimately they do move him around enough. So I like Downs today, too. So Puka and Downs. Good morning, Kristen, man. How are we doing? Awesome to see all you guys here. I appreciate Campanelli giving me the heads up on our rankings. I thought they were updated. So, wow, I'm pushing through this last update here. They're updated on my side, but I got to make sure it's out to all of you guys. JNF, Small Chili. What's going on, my man? Good morning. And here we go. I need to start 2 running backs and a flex out of these options. We got Monty, Kyron. Sure, you got some great options here. JNF Chili. I would definitely go. You got to go Kyron. He's absolutely the top option here. And then I got to go Monty. We talked about him on the Thursday show, how rock solid he's been. Top 12 running back in 4 of his 7 games. Hasn't been below the top 20 running backs in any of his full games. He's just a touchdown machine. And I know New Orleans is scary. It looks scary. They've been great in the past against the run. This year, they're not. They're giving up the 8th most rushing yards in the game. So that I love those 2. So you got to start there. Hold on. It just getting a weird. There we go. And then, so those are the 2 running backs you want to go. And then I got to go Devonta Smith over these other guys. The 49ers, obviously a great run defense. Overall, a great team. But they give up the 6th most points to wide receivers. And with Dallas Goedert out of the lineup, Smith has really taken off. He's really become that go-to guy over the intermediate part of the field. So, Jeff, I got to go Devonta Smith here as your flex. I love Singletary. I love the matchup against Denver today. It's a great spot. But ultimately, Devonta Smith has been just too good. So I am going to go him, JNF Chili. And I'm going to go. So Monty, Kyron, Devonta, somehow benching Singletary here. Hall and Watson, easier benches for me at that point. All right. What do we got for you here? Oh, it's clicking so good today. Sorry, guys. I appreciate your patience here as we go there. DeAndre Hopkins or Rashee Rice for Mike Duke. I'm going to go Rashee Rice here, talking about how he's gotten more and more Pat Mahomes friendly as time has gone on. I really like Rashee Rice here. I would go him over DeAndre Hopkins for sure. Hopkins, these last few weeks, he had that one huge game there with Will Levis, but otherwise it's been really, really abysmal. And so he was actually in my higher lower Hail Mary on Thursday. I was not excited to go him. I'm going to go Rashee Rice over DeAndre Hopkins for sure. Awesome. Mike D. Gani. PPR flex, Logan Thomas, Hollywood Brown, or Brian Robinson. I would go here. Oh, man. Not Logan Thomas. It comes down to Hollywood Brown or Brian Robinson. 12 targets for Hollywood Brown were very, very intriguing here. But ultimately, oh, man, I would probably go. I like Brian Robinson. It's the wrong script for him today, though. That's a really, really tricky one, Mike. I think I might just hope Brian Robinson gets in the end, though, but they've been very good against running backs, Miami, these last few weeks. I like Hollywood Brown today, assuming he's in 12 targets. Again, good matchup for wide receivers, in particular, outside guys. I like Hollywood Brown. I'm going to lean, especially in PPR. I just think there's a higher floor there with the elite target share that he's seeing. A good one for App.Rotobot.AI, though, to test out, see what they think on that one. All righty, Nicola, good to see you. Nicola, give me just 1 second. I'm going to try to pop through this rankings update, and I know you are the best, and you can give me 1 second to do that. I'll come back to that in a sec. So sorry, guys, if it's a little choppy. I'm just trying to push through a rankings update here. But we got Nicola here. Good morning, Wolf. To figure out who I should have for my other wide receiver spot and flex, my options are Josh Downs, Rashee Rice, Hopkins, Reed, Watson, and Mixon. I would go Rashee Rice for sure is my favorite other wide receiver here. And then, oh man, now it gets tricky after that. He's definitely my clear favorite, Rashee Rice here. I would probably lean. It's not. I don't think it's Mixon against a good Jags run D. That's probably not where I'm going. I would. I would go. I think Josh Downs. Again, the target share is just so good. I know the knee concerns were an issue coming out of the bye, and then bam, 14 targets right away. A soft defense overall against wide receivers, even though they are good against the slot. That's where I'm leaning. You have a lot of good options there. I would definitely encourage you to check out and see what App.Rotobot.AI has to see there. Who for my wide receiver 2 and flex spot? Downs, Higgins, Dobbs, Cooper, Rashee Rice, Connor, or A.J. Dillon? I would go Juan Pena. I would probably lean Josh Downs and Amari Cooper here and just see. Let's see what. Rashee Rice. Sorry, I saw the Rashee Rice option. He's my favorite one. And then it comes down to Cooper versus Downs for me. I'm very intrigued to see what Cooper does with Joe Flacco today, with an actual NFL competent quarterback. I think he's off the couch. Again, we can't just pretend that Joe Flacco is going to be this god that comes in here. But yeah, I'm going to go Rice and Downs is safer. Let's go Downs here, especially if it's full PPR there. Juan Pena is where I would lean. And Wolfpack, we got about 60 of you here right now. So awesome having another one of those awesome Sunday mornings here. Please do consider hitting that thumbs up button, supporting your boy here, helping us get out to more people. Let us know what your questions are. We'll get through them all. And if you want to support your guy and cut the line, Super Chat is the way to do it. Our man Campanelli is in the mods right now, watching out for all Super Chats to make sure we get those for you. So if you're going to Super Chat, we will be able to bump you right up to the top. You can support your boy. The free way, though, is that thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets, getting more people in here. New subs. I see so many new names out here already. Would love to have you join the Wolfpack. And Campanelli, let me know if those rankings are looking updated at this point. I thought I got that through in the morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. to do it, but for whatever reason, it didn't show. All right, Nicola, let's see what else we got. Also, what are your thoughts on having Taysom Hill as my tight end this weekend? I love Taysom Hill. He's a top 5 tight end for me. They so involved in the red zone, so many carries, such a great touchdown bet every week. And so I'd rather have him, honestly, than Dalton Schultz this week, even if Schultz was playing. Hawkinson, I think there's nobody on the waiver wire, I assume, better than him, Nicola. But Nicola, please do try out App.Rotobot.AI. You're always here. You'd be someone we'd love your feedback for sure. We'd love all your feedback on it. Nate Very, I assume you didn't have because you wanted the numbers on your stream. I'll bite, says Nate Very. Yeah, I wanted to make sure you were here in the morning, babe. I'll bite. Ford, Hall, Thielen, Nico Collins. My fault on missing that one last night. I'm definitely going Nico Collins today, Nate. I think that's my favorite of these options. It is a tough one, though. Do you bail on Thielen is the real question here. And personally, if you tuned in on Thursday night, Nate, then you would know that I actually really like Thielen this week. He's the best slot matchup in the league against Tampa Bay. They're giving up the most points to slot wide receivers on the season. So I think I'm going to go Thielen and Nico Collins. I do like Ford a lot, though, with Joe Flacco at quarterback. He definitely likes to dump it off a bit more. The offense should be a bit more competent. The Rams are a middling matchup. It's nothing to run away from, nothing to target. Man, that's a tough one. I think I'm leaning Nico Collins and Thielen here. Now, Thielen is definitely a much lower floor at this point, which is crazy. A guy that's getting like 11 targets a game is a low floor here. If you want to play it safe, I don't remember who you're facing in our league, Nate. If you're just like facing a doormat like Dave Mock or, some of those pathetic teams, then you go forward and just take the safe volume. But I would probably go Collins and Thielen myself here if you need it, if you're in a battle at all. Kristen Mann asking, flex, Singletary, or Breece Hall. I would go Singletary over Breece Hall. I actually wrote about this on rotostreetjournal.com yesterday. You can check that out for a De'Von Achane breakdown, in addition to Singletary and Breece Hall, 3 of the running backs I've been getting the most questions about. So I wanted to put that out there. But yeah, I would go Singletary over Breece Hall. Best matchup for running backs. Even with Dameon Pierce coming back last week, they saw near even carries. 6 carries for Singletary, 5 for Dameon Pierce. But Singletary still saw 81% of the snaps, had a season high in routes, in targets, in receptions, and receiving yards. So we have that role for Singletary on lock. Plus, Dameon Pierce looked as bad as ever. There's going to maybe be a moment where they just say, let's keep Singletary riding it out. And again, 81% of the snaps, he was in there a ton. It seemed like they were just sprinkling Pierce in to see, like, hey, maybe he's healthy now. Let's see how he looks. He looks like crap. Okay, we'll keep Singletary in here for sure. Either way, I'm going Singletary. Breece Hall, I don't love it. I know, Nate, you asked about Breece Hall too. I just don't love him this week. Atlanta, the second fewest points allowed to running backs. He's averaging 30 rushing yards per game across his last 6 for your running back. I mean, that's abysmal here. So yeah, I'm going to go Singletary. I actually recommend sitting Breece Hall. If this prompts any other Breece Hall questions out there, I'm -8 ECR on Breece Hall today. He is not a guy I am going after. So yeah, that is a great question. So yeah, I'm going to just text you, Campanelli. Let me know on those rankings. Check now, please. I don't even know if that coherently typed in there. But again, thank you guys so much. Let's get back to all your questions. I think Campanelli is with us in the section there. So thank you so much. All righty. Need a kicker. Dropped Bass. Do I go Folk, Boswell, McLaughlin, or Groupie? Kicker question, Giuseppe. Come on. I actually really do like Nick Folk. He consistently seems to get it done, Giuseppe Russo. So that's where I would lean over the rest of these guys. Groupie is also very intriguing, especially now that Olave's back and that offense will be kicking. I actually kind of think he might be the best option here. Superdome at home. I'm going to go Groupie just because that Titans offense can just disappear any given moment. But the Colts, I really like Folk, actually. I'm going to go Nick Folk. I think he's in a good spot today, Giuseppe Russo. All righty. Flex, James Conner, Pat Fryermuth, Jaden Reed, Chuba Hubbard, Steven, a lot of just that's a great question. They're all so similar here. This is another one I say for all you guys. App.Rotobot.AI. Check it out. It's in the chat. This is another one I'd want more and more insight on for sure. I'm not going to go double tight end. I'm not going to go Pat Fry here, despite the 11 targets last week. I just love the way Jaden Reed's been rolling, assuming he's in. Now, of course, he's got the injury. We've got to make sure to monitor it heading into today. Wide receiver 11, 12, and 21 his last 3 games. He's been cooking, involved as the rusher and the receiver. I feel best about him is where I'm leaning there. So I would go that way with him. Jaden Reed is the one I would go for. Sorry, 1 second. There it is, Steven. The chat keeps tons of questions getting peppered on in here, which is moving the questions on me. There we go. We got Giuseppe Russo for another one. Achane or Singletary. Another one I wrote about, Giuseppe, GrowStreetJournal.com. Check it on out. I do go. This one comes down to, it's the classic answer. I hate to be the hedger, right? But if you need the safety, let's say you're the favorite, you're a 5 to 10 point favorite, and you just want the guaranteed points, Singletary's getting you at least 10, probably 12, maybe even 15 today, right? That's where I'd probably go most of the time. If I'm safe, I'm good to go. Let's say you face DK Metcalf on Thursday. You're down by 35 because he just whipped it out all over your face. And now you might need some upside, right? Achane, nobody has more upside than him, truly, even more than CMC. He averages 32 points per game in his full starts. I'm all about getting Achane in lineups. In most cases, this one's very close. It's my running back 18 and 19, and it really does come down to, do you need the ceiling or do you need the floor here? I would probably go Singletary unless, again, you are a heavy underdog or you got battered by DK or CeeDee Lamb on Thursday Night Football. I would probably play it safe and go Singletary, but there is definitely a world where Achane makes more sense than him. Mike Duke, Swift or Brian Robinson, full PPR. I would definitely go Swift here. I know the 49ers are a tough defense overall, but this Eagles offense, it's just such a machine, and you're really hoping for touchdowns and receptions, and they're not great at defending receiving running backs right now. Swift could definitely find his way into the end zone if Jalen Hurts just gives him one chance as well. But he's been rock solid all year, as is Brian Robinson too. But I just think Miami, the game flow could become more of an Antonio Gibson, whereas Swift, he's going to be in the game no matter what the situation. He is the featured back in that offense. So I'm going to lean Swift there for you, Mike Duke. Dustin Poole, Mahomes or Stroud, and Downs or Rice. I like Rice over Downs. I'm just all in on Rice here. And then maybe do you stack those guys up? Probably is where I would lean. Green Bay's a pretty good secondary, but so is Denver for Stroud. So at that point, Stroud versus Mahomes, I'm just going to go the guy, Pat Mahomes, that has consistently gotten it done for many, many years. As good as Stroud is, he only has 19 touchdowns on the season right now, too. I don't want to say anything negative about CJ Stroud. I love the guy. He is an absolute animal. But yeah, I think Mahomes is the safer option here. So I would go Mahomes over Stroud. I'd stack him up with Rice there, especially if that's the same league there for you. Dustin Poole. Are we going Achane or Puka Nacua in the flex? Full PPR for B. Schaffnet. I would actually go, oh man, I really think so. I'm a Puka owner. I'm playing him where I have him because I don't really have better options. But if I had Achane in those same leagues, I have Achane starting my running back spot, so I already have to. So it's not like I can go one or the other. But I'll tell you this: if I had the potential to go one or the other, I'd go Achane today. I know it's nuts. You can come here, you can spit on me later. If Achane gets dinged up the first play of the game, you have to know you're absorbing that risk. And you got to go with that preface, right? It's so risky. But that reward, again, every single full game he's made it through has been a top 5 running back performance. He's facing a Washington team that's giving up a ton of points since they traded away Montez Sweat, and Chase Young. They've been just getting bled out. I think it's the second best matchup for running backs across the last 5 weeks because of that trade. So it's such a beautiful spot to welcome him back. I'm not overly concerned about the workload because Mike McDaniel said we rested him for 2 games on it for a reason. Let's get him fully good, ready to go. I think you're going to get your usual 10 to 12 touches for De'Von Achane today, and I think that's all you need. So I would go Achane with Puka Nacua facing the toughest matchup, second worst in terms of fantasy points allowed for receivers, fewest passing yards allowed in the league, even without Denzel Ward. Yeah, I'm going Achane there. Schnaffnet. Thank you. Great question, though. A lot to dive into. And we got a super chat from Fantasy Football 101. Thank you so much for your support. First super chat of the day. Really, really appreciate it, guys. This helps go us such a long way, especially in the holiday season here. We really, really appreciate it. Pick 3. Tank, Deontay Johnson, Puka, Chase, and Curtis Samuel. Alrighty, Fantasy Football 101. Let's get these 3 right for you. Definitely Tank Dell. He's my favorite option of here. Never mention Tank Dell. He's going to be my firstborn, Tank Dell Trakoff. So yeah, I'm going Tank Dell. He is just an absolute animal, but a top 24 wide receiver for 4 straight. I mean, the ceilings are huge. Every huge performance he has, there's always that but yeah, he also had a 60-yarder called back or just missed a touchdown too. So he's having these huge days and still could be having even bigger days. And then from there, I got to go Chase. It's Jamar Chase. I get that Downing is a concern. It reminds me a bit of Garrett Wilson's situation, just with a better wide receiver. And I love Garrett Wilson. So, I mean, that's how Chase is probably the best receiver in the league. I got to just keep going with him. I know that T. Higgins back makes it a little questionable, but Jacksonville is not a great pass defense. It's actually a pass funnel. They're good against the run, but they're bad against the pass. So I think Jamar Chase is in good spots here. And then it comes down to Deontay versus Puka versus Curtis Samuel. Maybe I'm just chasing the big names here, but I got to go Puka. As I know I just said I'd go De'Von Achane over him, and I would, but I still, he could get free with Denzel Ward out. Maybe he gets some of the secondary coverage. Newsom goes over on Cooper Kupp here. That could free up Puka for a couple big gains here. I love if it came down to you really just didn't want to put Puka in here. I actually do prefer Curtis Samuel to Deontay Johnson. I would rank them Tank, Chase, Puka, Curtis Samuel, then Deontay. I love Curtis, though. In his full healthy games, he actually averages more points per game than Terry McLaurin. How crazy is that? 12 targets last week. Miami allows the 10th highest percent of targets to go to the slot wide receiver as well. I'm a huge fan of Curtis Samuel today. He's one of my favorite plug and play. Get him off the waiver wire. You're desperate for a fill-in. I'm a huge fan of Curtis Samuel, but I would not put him in over Tank, Chase, or Puka. I would go those 3. Those are the 3 I would lock in there. But I would play Curtis Samuel over Deontay Johnson for whatever that's worth. Thank you so much, Fantasy Football 101, for the super chat. Anybody else that wants to cut the line, that is the way to do it. It would be so greatly appreciated to help your boy out. But the free way to help your guy out with over 60 you here, love it. A great Sunday. Again, that thumbs up button. It really does help us get out to more people, get out to a new audience, and those subs, anything to help us push to 4K on the season would be so greatly appreciated. Thank you again so much for being here. Please do consider, if you enjoy what you're hearing, if you enjoy helping your boy out, for helping you guys out, that thumbs up button would mean the world. The other way you could really help us out today too, just going to pull it in again, Rotobot.AI. App.Rotobot.AI is where you need to go. App.Rotobot.AI. Sign on up. Give us some feedback. Help us test run this. We really do think this has the potential to change fantasy. And it can answer all your sit-start questions today while you're waiting for me to get to you. Test it on out. Give us some feedback. We're really trying to grow this bad boy. We've been putting so much hard work in behind the scenes. Got an awesome team working through this. So we would love you guys to check out App.Rotobot.AI. It's in the chat. Make sure to go do that. Maybe CJ, if you're watching this, you could put App.Rotobot.AI in the description of this YouTube video as well. Flex Collins, Thielen, or Achane. Oh, that's a good one. I would probably go Nico Collins here as my favorite option. Oh, but you got Tank Dell starting already? It's in your other league, though, Steven. So you can just go both these guys in the same lineup. They might cannibalize each other. One of those guys goes off every week. Oftentimes, it's both of them. I don't think you can go wrong by having a Texans receiver in there. I do love Achane. I think that might be unnecessary risk today when you have such other great options for you, Steven Youngberg. So I'm going to go Collins there over those other options. But man, really great question for that. Full PPR, Garrett Wilson or Rashee Rice? Great question, DJ. I would probably, Tim Boyle did get the end zone target to him. They ended up converting that one. And I get how bad he is, but we did have a day where Amon-Ra St. Brown had a 40-point day with Tim Boyle as his quarterback with the Lions. So it's not absolutely impossible. AJ Terrell lockdown, though. I have Wilson higher in my rankings, and honestly, I don't know if I feel great about that. That's going to be one when after the show I go back and adjust. I'd rather just have Rashee Rice coming off a season high in route share, season high in targets, trending all the right ways. With Pat Mahomes, I got to go there. 31.8% first read target share for Rashee Rice. He became a key factor of this offense. I'm going to go Rashee Rice. I'm going to make sure to adjust my rankings to DJ Johnson. I love that. Alrighty, Treylon Burks or Cedric Tillman here. I would go. Oh man, Mondo, we're in some rough straits here. So Treylon Burks, we haven't confirmed playing yet. Cedric Tillman also is very, very questionable because Amari Cooper is in. The only reason he was viable was he played those routes when Amari Cooper was up. So I'm going to toss a few out here, Mondo. Let me know if these guys are out there in your league. Devontae Parker against the Chargers, #1 receiver for the Pats, and the best offense, the best matchup for wide receivers. Certainly not the best offense. That is a far cry. Justin Watson, still running a ton of routes in a Pat Mahomes-led offense. Elijah Moore been dropped in a lot of leagues. What about Greg Dortch? When he plays, I saw the stat, shout out Scott Bear. When he's played Greg Dortch 66% of the snaps, he averages 14.8 fantasy points per game. Is he out there in your leagues? Those are all guys I would look at ahead of either of these options. Because if Treylon Burks plays and it has to be one of these two, I'd go Treylon Burks. And I don't like that. I don't feel good about it. But any of those other guys, even like Jonathan Mingo coming off a target high game last week, those are the guys I would look at well ahead, Mondo, of this. But I know how deep leagues can get. I know it's dynasty. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, I hope Rice goes off. He's certainly not going to do what Metcalf did. And I don't know. I was just feeling the Rashee Rice because I had Metcalf higher in my rankings. But yeah, he had a huge day. I was thinking of you throughout the game there. I think Rashee Rice will have a good day. There's no way he's going to match Metcalf. no way about it. So we'll see. JNF Small Chili. Do I start Minshew, Carr, Pickett this week? I would go. I'd go Carr out of these options. Now that we have Chris Olave, I want to reiterate this stat. The Lions have given up a top 8 quarterback performance in 4 of their last 5 games. The only one that didn't was Jimmy Garoppolo. And you don't need any explanation there. So I think with Olave back here, a full weapons cabinet, I really like the matchup for Carr. Now, he's only playing 60% of the red zone snaps. That's not great for your quarterback by any means. Taysom Hill becoming such a nuisance there for Derek Carr. But with the way Olave was cooking, I could see Carr getting it done this week. The other options just don't inspire me enough to go away from him in a good matchup against Detroit at home is where I'm leaning. All righty, Thomas Radke, Brian Robinson, Mixon, Watson, or Thielen. Pick 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. I would go the wide receiver. I'm going to go Thielen. I know how scary and sketchy it is, but this is it. If he doesn't do it this week, this is literally the best matchup for slot wide receivers today. If he doesn't do it today, I don't think you can put him in your lineup again the rest of the year. And Watson's been, his one good game on the year. I get it. It's great to see. I'm happy that Watson had that big game. Finally showed he could connect with Jordan Love. That's nice. It really is. I'm not underselling that, but we need more of a track record. Thielen for so much of this year was you can't even consider benching him. He's an absolute rock star. Other than that, I would probably go for the flex. Brian Robinson, I think. Again, I'd rather see a little bit more consistency out of Watson before I go away from him. So I'm going to go Thielen and Brian Robinson for this one. And then we are at now. Oh, I lost my spot for a second. I thought Campanelli texted me we were super chat, but we do not have a super chat. So that threw me off for a quick second there. Full PPR, Brees or Achane for DJ Johnson. I'm going Achane there. I just don't like Brees' spot. Atlanta giving up the second fewest points to running back. He only has 30 rushing yards in his last 6 games on average. It's been bad. It's been really bad. And then Tim Boyle, mix him in. Now, I saw 9 targets. Full PPR, this does make it closer, DJ. 9 targets, 7 catches. That definitely raises Brees' floor quite a bit. But Atlanta's really been limiting big plays to running backs, and that's kind of how Brees Hall has been making his money. I'm just going to go ride that lightning bolt of De'Von Achane in a great matchup, fully rested. That's kind of where I am leaning here. Giuseppe Russo. I have Douglas Hurt. Giuseppe, you better go check out App.Rotobot.AI. You've been here from day one. DJ John, like you guys, you're Beverly, my guy from Beverly. Go to App.Rotobot.AI. Check it on out. You guys are the legends here that we need to be growing this thing with that are like day one fans for sure. Douglas Hurt. And do I pick up Tutu Atwell, Noah Brown, Greg Dortch, Justin Watson, or Devontae Parker, half PPR? I would go. It comes down to Noah Brown versus Dortch for me here. I mean, I don't even hate Devontae Parker. These are actually some. Giuseppe, you're highlighting some of the best wide receiver options of the streaming pool here. I would go probably Noah Brown first. Again, I know he's been hurt. It's questionable how healthy he's going to be today. But how could you overlook the fact in his last couple of games when he was out there, 172 and 153 yards in those games? I mean, that is absolutely insane. He, in the half PPR leagues, was the wide receiver 2 and 7 with 24 and 21 points. If I'm going to go for a wide receiver in like these depths, why not go for the guy in the last 2 games that was literally a top 7 wide receiver in back-to-back efforts, right? After him, if you really didn't want to play the injury card and that makes you nervous here, I would go to Greg Dortch next. I'm going to update my rankings to reflect that. But 11 and 10 points in his last 2. And as that stat was that I gave earlier, in the games where he plays 67% or more of the snaps, Greg Dortch averages 14.8 fantasy points per game in PPR. I know this is half PPR, so that's around like 12 PPR points. But that's still pretty good when you're rolling around the mud here. The other guys, again, you're relying on the Pats, no. Justin Watson, no thank you. Atwell, no thanks. So it comes down to Brown or Dortch. Brown, definitely the ceiling play, probably where I would go in most cases. But Greg Dortch, if you really didn't want to mess with that injury. 72 here, Wolfpack. I just want to toss it out there again. Please do consider hitting that thumbs up button. Maybe we can get to the 100. We got to 100 last time out when I ripped this thing solo. That would be so awesome to try to hit 100 live viewers with us again. Over 1,000 last time. Over 200 questions last time. Want to keep going for that record, Wolfpack. So please do consider hitting that thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets. And again, as you're waiting for your question, App.Rotobot.AI. Check it on out. That is something we've been working so hard on throughout the season. And it would be so appreciated if you guys could get on there, get some questions on in. We'll pull it back up in a little bit, maybe run a couple of these questions through it. McBride or Freiermuth for DJ Johnson. I would go, I still got to go McBride. I know the last couple of weeks, but a little bit underwhelming. He is such a talent, though. Still just behind Travis Kelce in yards per route run. Still seeing such a good target share each and every week. If Freiermuth does it again, back-to-back 11 target days, something like that, then okay, let's go. I did hear something about how Arizona runs the highest rate of 2-shell coverage, which he just absolutely obliterated the Bengals with last week. That's the Fantasy Points podcast, one of my favorites out there. So I get it. Like, there is a very good narrative for Freiermuth this week. There's no doubt about it, but I'm just so in love with McBride. He's in. I'm playing him. That's kind of where I'm at with him. We do have a super chat, so I'm going to bounce back to you in a second, Thomas Radke. We had 2 super chats. Are you falling asleep at the wheel over there, Campanelli? What's going on? Stephen Drakes, I'm sorry to miss this one on you. Need 3, half PPR, Deontay, Nico, Noah, Downs. Maybe he's messing around with Rotobot.AI, and that's why he's a little distracted over there. So thank you so much, though, Stephen Drakes, for your super chat, for your support of the show here today. We need 3 of these guys, so we're going to bench one of them. Okay. I probably, in this case, do bench Noah. Why absorb that risk? Nico, there's no brainer. You're playing Nico Collins. He's the stud. He's the best option here. Josh Downs, fresh off 14 targets. I'm not benching him over these options. And then we get to Deontay versus Noah. And I get it. Like, Deontay, risky. Absolutely. but he did still see 8 targets. Like, the risk with Deontay is what everybody's kind of pointing out, that fumble play, right? Where he just like didn't see it, didn't go after it. I'd be infuriated as a coach too. There is the risk that like maybe the coach does put him on the bench for a little bit because of that. Noah's still coming off the injury though. Like, I love that. I shouldn't say I love that Schultz is out. That sounds effed up. But like, for Noah's value, yeah, Schultz being out, that could really open up some routes. But coming off the injury, what if they just ease him in and he's a part-time player with the gross and hideous Robert Woods? Like, it took Woods being out and Woods and Nico Collins for a couple of those weeks too, being out for Noah Brown to really light it up. If he's just like a 50-50 rotational player today, I'd rather go after Deontay Johnson, who's still seeing elite volume, who's in this Steelers offense that's starting to ascend without Matt Canada here. I would lean Deontay Johnson there. So I'd go Nico, I'd go Downs, I'd go Deontay of those options. And TK, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Start Evan Ingram, David Njoku, AJ Dillon, Amari Cooper. Pick a tight end and 1 flex. I'm 110% going David Njoku. I'm in love with him today. I loved him even before Joe Flacco was named quarterback. Flacco loves the tight end. Historically, he has peppered tight ends and running backs at well above average rates there. So I love that, but I also love that Njoku is getting peppered regardless. He has actually become the main vein of this passing attack. His target share the last few weeks has been amazing. And in the Rams, you mix in the fact that this is a tight end funnel defense. They've given up a top 3 in terms of points allowed, in terms of target share allowed. Tight ends destroy the Rams. All things come up, David Njoku. I am a huge, huge fan of him today. So I go him over Ingram, even as safe as Ingram has been. 9 targets almost every single week. Just doesn't get it done. His red zone receiving, -9 yards in the red zone right now. I don't know how that's even possible. But yeah, it was such limited. I mean, Ingram does get a Bengals team. Like, that, the one thing that makes you have to pause here. We've seen Ingram have like 30-point days in the past, and he gets a Bengals team that Pat Fryer was destroyed for like 25 points. That's been getting dominated by tight ends all year. So I get why this is a question, but I'm just so in love with Njoku. They both have good matchups. Njoku's production has been quite a bit better lately. So I am going to go David Njoku there. And then out of A.J. Dillon and Amari Cooper, maybe we do flex double tight ends here. That is an option. I don't love A.J. Dillon. Amari Cooper, do I really want to go 2 Browns? Like, what if Flacco just looks like complete and utter ass? So I don't know that I want to do that either. I might just go double tight end here, TK. Honestly, like, that might be the route we have to go here. Oh man, this is a really tough one. I greatly appreciate the super chat to try to think it through. I'd love to get this one right for you. I think we do go Njoku and Ingram, and I'm shocked that I'm saying double tight end here. I'm not a AJ Dillon guy at all. The Chiefs are a great defense against pretty much every position. Oh man, you got me in a blender here, TK. I think I go, yeah. I mean, Njoku and Evan Ingram are both top 7 tight ends for me. Both are in great matchups. Full PPR. I think both will get a healthy share of targets today. I'm going to go double tight end. I want to trust my gut here. I think that's a great question. I think that would also be a great question for the Rotobot, App.Rotobot.AI. Just pull it up again for you guys to remind you what we're trying to beta launch today. It is the App.Rotobot.AI is where you go to get your insight, all your sit starts, all your questions. Go ask it. It will, every single thing you put in there, it helps it get smarter. It helps it continue to grow. Please do check it out. We're so proud of how far it's come along. And by the end of the year, we want this to be like change the face of fantasy potentially type of thing. And your insight, your questions, your feedback, that's how we get there. We want to know what you guys want answered so we can make sure we're answering it the right way through AI. The 24/7, always available fantasy football guru. Please go check out App.Rotobot.AI. Check out App.Rotobot.AI, our new project, the beta launch today. We're so pumped and proud. We'd love you guys to go test it out for us. All righty. We're going to continue now, moving forward. Thank you again so much. That clears up all the super chats. Thank you guys so much for being willing to support us monetarily. If you want to support us the free way, that thumbs up button. 80 of you here live with us. We love this. This is awesome. This is so greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. So many of you here live with us today. It is awesome. It is greatly appreciated. Let's get back. We were at Thomas Radke here. Let's keep answering these questions. Brian Robinson, Mixon, Watson, or Thielen. Pick 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Okay. I think, Thomas, you already asked this one. So I'm going to just go remind you, I picked Thielen and I picked Brian Robinson, but I'm not going to dive as deep into it. Diamond Dave, rank Rice, Amari, Towns, Flacco, Mixon, Ingram. Rank Flacco, Mixon, all these guys. Is this like a super flex question, Diamond Dave? If it's super flex, I'm honestly just going to go to the quarterback. I always just defer to the quarterback. But of these other options, I really like Rice. And then after Rice, my next favorite would be Ingram. No, it'd probably be Downs. I'm going to bump Downs up today in my rankings. That's one thing I noticed. I was a little lower than him than I expected to be because I really like going Josh Downs. In all these questions I've been getting, I'm like, yeah, Downs, easy answer. And then I checked my rankings. I'm like -6 ECR on him. I like Downs today. I have no issue with him at all. I think he's a great play. So I'd probably go Rice. So Flacco, if it's a super flex, you just got to rip him. And then I'd probably go Rice, then Downs, then Mixon, then Ingram is how I would roll with that. Higgins is obviously such an intriguing talent, but with first game back with Browning, who knows? Diego, bye-week dilemma. Do I resort to Singletary or Connor today? I got to go Singletary over Connor. And if this is your bye-week dilemma, I mean, Diego, you're in good shape if this is your bye-week dilemma. These are two pretty good options. So your depth must be very strong. I love Singletary today, though. 81% of the snaps. I know it looks kind of bad. 6 carries for him, 5 carries for Dameon Pierce, but only 19% of the snaps went to Pierce last week. Maybe that was injury related, but he looked bad as always. 5 carries, 14 yards. And then the receiving boost we saw for Devin Singletary. Best matchup for running backs you can ask for, too. I'm going to go Devin Singletary there over James Conner. Pat Sullivan, with quarterback on bye, I need a fill-in. Pickett, Ritter, Young, Browning, Flacco, or Zappy. Oh, we are in a tough spot here, Pat. I would probably go Pickett. I know that it's either Pickett or Flacco for me. I just don't. I could never go Bryce Young or Ritter. They're garbage. Browning and Zappy, garbage. Pickett and Flacco, probably garbage too. But Pickett coming off a game where, again, they had 400 yards of total offense for the first time in 44 games since Matt Canada got fired. I like going Pickett today. I do. I mean, I don't like going in, but of these options, I know more. Tommy DeVito, Danny DeVito, probably too. Both have more multi-touchdown days than Kenny Pickett's NFL career. He's one game with multiple touchdowns in it. I know that's embarrassing. It's abysmal. But coming off his career high, 83 yards, 87 yards last week, nearly hit that 300 yards. One little shake of touchdown luck. They were in the red zone so much more often, and no team has given up more overall fantasy points than the Cardinals. They are a pathetic defense. So, I think absolutely Pickett, if the touchdown luck rolls his way, he just has the higher ceiling of any of these guys. And he's been a gunslinger in the past. So Pat, of all those hideous options, I would go Kenny Pickett myself. Looks like we got a start. We got another super chat coming in. Thank you, Campanelli. You're not penalized, Campanelli. I know you're testing out Rotobot. You're a little distracted on the super chats. That's totally fine. I was just messing with you live here. So Levi C, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. PPR and 5 points to, so big plays. Okay, interesting. I don't know that the bonus necessarily comes in play here because neither Javonte or Deontay are big play guys. They're just kind of churn it. Let's go. Let's ride it down. I like Javonte here. Full PPR does definitely make Deontay Johnson make this question tougher. But I'm a big fan of Javonte. You know, he got a little dinged up last game and missed one series. And, of course, that one series was when Samaje Perine got put in and got the touchdown. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't even be here asking this question. Javonte has really taken the reins of this backfield. 27, 21, 11, bad game flow, and then 18 rushes in his last 4 games. So the game flow risk is real. If CJ Stroud goes and marches and they get up early, it could get ugly. But Houston is absolutely a run funnel defense. They're so much better against the pass than the run. And Javonte, when they can, they want to feature and just absolutely allow this guy to feast. 11, 17, 19, 6, and then 9. Yeah, so I know the recent points with him haven't been great. So that there is pause. And I get why there is pause here, especially with the full PPR. Because like Deontay last week, 4 catches for 50 yards, was right there. He had the touchdown there too. I'm going to still go Javonte. I don't think the big play bonus comes into play here, Levi C. I'm going to go Javonte. I think he gets to the end zone today. I think he has yourself a really, really nice day. Thank you so much for the super chat, Levi. Greatly appreciate it. If anybody else wants to cut the line, that super chat is the way to do it. We got over 80 here. We got a big super chat coming on in here from Hoosier Devo. Thank you so much, Hoosier Devo. And then we got another one coming in from Lucius too. So we will hit both of those super chats. Thank you so much, guys, for your generosity here in week 13. It means the world. We're so appreciative of you. Morning, full PPR. Hoosier, I know you've done a couple of these monster super chats too. It's not unnoticed. It is so greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And you're giving some great context, so this will really help us out here. Full PPR, 4-point passing touchdown. You're down 44 points. Ooh, so maybe you got whacked around by DK Metcalf is what I'm guessing here. Man, that sucks. Starting Etienne, AJB, and Pittman for sure. Start Goff or Murray. Also to fill one running back and one flex. Connor, Singletary, or D-Hop. Okay, so we need upside. Upside's at a premium here today. So this is tricky because on the surface, Murray should have more upside than Jared Goff. I mean, they just as prospects, like, yeah, I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Goff. But Pittsburgh is a scary matchup. Like, there's no doubt about it. And now that we have Olave in on the New Orleans side, Superdome turf, like we've seen that Jared Goff inside domes is significantly better. This is a tough one here. Part of me thinks that Goff does have the higher ceiling here. I have Murray a few spots above him in my rankings because Goff on the road is not usually as good. They're also down multiple Marshawn Lattimore, like multiple starters there in New Orleans. You're going to need a game that shoots out. I don't think there's any world where the Cardinals and the Steelers shoot out. The Steelers are going to put up their points and kind of bleed clock, and it's going to be ugly. And I think Murray will probably get there, and I think Murray has the higher floor for sure. But if you're really chasing ceiling today, Hoosier, I do think Jared Goff probably has the better shot at a game just kind of going back and forth. Again, Olave playing is a big reason I feel so good about that. Part of me does just kind of want to go Goff. I don't know, though. Like, I have Murray higher. He's my higher, lower Hail Mary. I featured this week 23 and 20 points. You got your man in a pickle here, Hoosier. You know who you could ask? App.Rotobot.AI. Check him out, too. No, but I'll ultimately – I think let's go to the other ones, and then I'll ultimately make my quarterback decision. We need one running back and a flex. I'm definitely going Singletary over Connor. We got a couple Connor questions. I didn't even address the fact that he lost nearly all the passing down work. 83% of the passing down work went to Michael Carter, newly signed Michael Carter out of nowhere. Why? I don't know. Connor's a great pass catcher, a great protector. He's always been a 3-down horse for them. That makes me really nervous for him. You got the revenge game narrative. I like that, but no, Singletary for sure has the most upside of the running backs. So he's the easy lock button. Most points allowed to backs is Denver. 81% of the snaps last week compared to 19% for Dameon Pierce. It's certainly Singletary is the running back here. Then it comes down to Connor versus D-Hop, and it's like, okay, I don't like upside for either of these guys, Hoosier. When you're down so big, obviously D-Hop did have that one massive day with Will Levis, the 3 touchdowns, 33-point day. Could he recreate that? Absolutely. And he gets Indianapolis today, a team that he had 18 points against in half PPR. So in full PPR, what did he have that week? I think it was like over 22 points. So I'm probably going to go, given that Connor has such a limited, the really only case for Connor getting upside today is revenge game, right? And I think it's a thing. I think Connor is going to want to put it up on his team. I think his team's going to try to give him a chance to get into the end zone today. But I don't know that they're going to actually move the ball very well on the Steelers at all. I think I'm leaning Singletary and D-Hop here, as especially in full PPR. I don't love D-Hop. I don't like either of them. I'm going to go Singletary and D-Hop just for the sake of upside. And then for the quarterback, again, oh, man, it is tricky. Like Kyler, I think you got to go Kyler. I know I've been going back and forth on it in my own head. Kyler is the guy that, like, we've seen have 30-point days. And Goff in his best, and I know we haven't seen it from Kyler this year, but, like, just historically, what if he runs in 2 touchdowns, throws another? Goff has been playing pretty bad ball as of late. Like, fantasy-wise, he's been okay. 21, 17, 18. Murray's outscored him every single game, though, since he's come back. I'm just going to stick to my rankings. I'm going to stick to my guns, even though the game flow feels a little more upsidey for this New Orleans one. I'm gonna stick to Murray. He just historically has been the higher upside quarterback. So Hoosier, we're going Murray, Singletary, D-Hop. Great question. Great way to include that context. Thank you again so much for your generous super chat. $10 Very, very much appreciated, Hoosier Devo. That's awesome. And I know, again, it's not your first time giving us a big super chat like that. So cheers to you, man. I hope I get it right. Best of luck. Let me know how the game goes. DM me at Roto Street Wolf. I'd love to hear how your matchup is going, brother. Just say this is Hoosier Devo, so I know who's talking to me. Lucius Vernus, 44. Sit 1, Chase, Henry, Debo, Swift. Man, I don't want to sit any of them, Lucius, but I think I'm going to sit Swift here. Can't go Debo. You have most points allowed to wide receivers, the Eagles. I just love that game. And so I love that game, but I love the game for all the passing ones. Both of those defenses are absolute pass funnels. So I think we're going to have a fun shootout style game between Hurts and Brock Purdy there. I love all the prospects in the passing game. Swift, I do still like. He could catch balls. He could fall his way into the end zone. But, I mean, Derrick Henry against the Colts, 5th most points to backs. This is like the defense that Henry gets his money against, right? And then Jamar Chase. It's Jamar Chase, right? Like, I'm not benching him despite the Browning concerns. Browning was, like, okay. And the Jags are absolutely a pass funnel defense, too. So I'm going to go Chase, Henry, and Debo. The locks for me here are Debo and Henry. So if you're, like, really not feeling Chase – and you wanted to go Swift, it's justifiable. They are in the same tier. They're the similar style player. But me, myself, I'm not benching Jamar Chase for DeAndre Swift this week. You guys got some great options. I mean, I've seen some bye week questions of hell. The fact that you're going to have to sit one of those like all top 12 options, Lucius, what an impressive team you got. Well, that wraps up our super chats. So thank you again so much for now. If you want to cut the line, though, that is the way to do it. If you want to support your boy for free, 90 here live with us. Love to see it. That thumbs up button keeps this rolling, keeps us snowballing, keeps the people coming on in. It is so awesome. So thank you again so much for for being here. Please do consider a lot of new names here as I'm scrolling through to find my place as well. A lot of new names in the questions, in the comments. If you like what you're hearing, please do consider subscribing to rotostreetjournal.com as we climb our way to 4K, continuing to grow the channel, continuing to grow the audience. It is so greatly appreciated, Wolfpack. Let me now find where we had left our place. I see tunes. We had not gotten to tunes yet. We were at right at, oh, man, we got a bunch of questions here, Wolfpack. Hoosier. We were at Pat Sullivan. All right, there we are. Diego De Leon, bi-week dilemma. So we said go Singletary for sure was the last spot we left off. Wolf will input his voice into the AI and he'll be streaming us answers 24 hours a day. I'm going to clone myself for sure through the AI, Jaws. Absolutely. But Jaws brings up a good point. I know we got a bunch of you kind of jumping in at random times. App.Rotobot.AI. Check it out. We got so many questions. I'll stay on a little longer today because we got so many here. And I just want to keep pumping this out. I know I've been pumping it up, taking some time. So I want to make sure to give you guys a little extra time. I'll stay extra today. But if you're waiting for your answer, App.Rotobot.AI is it's developed through me and through so many great minds here. And we're so pumped to launch the beta today. We'd love you guys to check out App.Rotobot.AI. Give us some feedback. Hit me up at RotoStreetWolf directly. Let me know your notes on it, what works, what doesn't. We know it's not a completely perfect product yet, but every question that goes in, the smarter it gets. And we really think this thing could become one of the key research tools in fantasy football. It's become such a long way throughout this season as we continue to grow. It's our baby at this point. So check out App.Rotobot.AI and let us know what you think. It works on mobile or on desktop. I prefer desktop myself, but it looks great on both. And yeah, the AI clone will be streaming soon enough. Maybe it is. Maybe this is the AI clone. You don't even know it, Jaws. Freighter Tank, Jimmy or Gibbs, David Montgomery, Alvin Kamara, and Breece Hall. Start 3, sit 1. I'm easily sitting Breece Hall on this one. I'm going to go both lines backs. You can do that. They're both often top 12 guys together. Alvin Kamara, how could you bench the guy? I know Olave's back, so a little bit of the target share goes down, but his workload has been so steady. So yeah, I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Alvin Kamara. I'm going to bench Breece Hall, 30 rushing yards per game in his last 6. 3 of his last 4 games have been outside the top 25 running backs. I just don't want to be part of a Tim Boyle offense, but I don't have to be. What do y'all say? Puka or Achane in the flex this week? Ask Ben Madri. I'm going to go Achane. I know the risk is there. He gets in, takes a bad hit, and he's already out. That would suck. But top 5 running back, all 3 of his full games, he's made it through 154 yards per game, 32 fantasy points per game in that span. And it wasn't just that 150-point day, like buoying all the stats. It was over 25 in all the other ones, too. The upside is astronomical with Achane, and Puka's got such a tough matchup this week. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that one. And, yeah, so Freighter Dank, full PPR only makes it that much better for Alvin Kamara It does give Brees Hall a little bit of a boost, but Gibbs gets the boost there. So is David Montgomery is such a good touchdown monster. So yeah, I'm still benching, even with full PPR. I'd still bench Brees Hall there. Etienne, the big swing. Yeah, so Jaws really analyzes that well, but I mean, is Puka floor so high today against the Cleveland defense? I hope so. I have him in all my leagues. We will see. Oh, 90-70 here. We're going to crack 100 again. Another record day for the Wolfpack. That thumbs up button would really help us out. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. What's going on, Tomas from Panama? Any weather concerns? Thinking of changing my Dicker? Honestly, Tomas, it's a great question. It's a great thing to consider. I don't really check weather too much or factor it in unless it's going to be like horrible winds is really where I get worried, or snow, obviously, of course. So I don't see much in New England. If that's what you're asking about, specifically New England, where I'm from, it's a gray, gross day, but it's not bad. Like, it's fine. So no, I would not be changing Kicker the Dicker. Dicker the Kicker. By any means. So again, we put it in the chat there, App.Rotobot.AI, your 24/7 fantasy football guru. Check it on out, Wolfpack. Any help that you can give us developing this, making this the guy that you got to go to the AI. It's going to be an AI race probably this offseason. We want to get out there first, and your help making it the best possible product would be so appreciated. Check out App.Rotobot.AI. Would love your honest feedback at RotoStreetWolf. Hit me up. There's feedback forms and all that stuff too. Thank you again so much for checking that out. Corey Jones, need two. Ayuk, Olave, Mike Evans. Oh, it does look like we have a super chat as well. So, Corey, I'll hit this one for you real quick, and we'll get to that super chat. Thank you, Campanelli. Olave, Mike Evans, Ayuk. You guys have these, and we're at 100 live views. Let's go. You guys have these crazy teams right now. Oh, my God. I would probably play Evans, Ayuk, Olave. You're talking about my wide receiver 9-10. I'm going to go Ayuk just because, again, Olave coming off the concussion here. It's tricky. It's tough. What if he takes one bad hit and he's out, right? When you're looking at, again, 3 top 10 options. How do you guys get these teams? I don't know. But when you're looking at these 3 top 10 options, you got to find, like, what's the biggest hole to poke here? And Olave just coming off a concussion game is despite having the best matchup of all 3 of these guys, that's got to be the biggest hole to poke in this. All 3 of them have humongous blow up upside. I think all 3 of them probably will. Ayuk facing a Philly team that gives up the most big plays in the game to wide receivers. This is just the script, pass funnel defense, going to need their points. I want every piece of that game I can get, and Ayuk is certainly one of the biggest pieces in there. And then Mike Evans, Carolina, I get it, like not a great matchup for wide receivers, but we got Godwin dinged up, and Evans has just been such an animal. Plus, they run a lot of zone coverage, and Evans destroys zone coverage throughout the year. I mean, how could you bench Mike Evans at this point? What an absolute stud he's been. 20, so we're talking full PPR, 20, 13, 13, 26, 15, and 25 in his last since the bye week. And I mean, before that, 19, 17, 19. He's got 2 mediocre days on the year, and they were a long time ago. I got to go Mike Evans there. And then you need 1 Kamara, Gibbs, Mostert. Oh, Corey, are you like 11-0? What is this team? How does this happen? I would go, I think full PPR, you got to keep riding out Kamara in this sense. Mostert, when De'Von Achane has been taking a significant leap down. He still has a ton of upside today against Washington, a great matchup. But yeah, in a full PPR especially, I'm going to go Kamara, the only one that's not in a timeshare of these backs. Let me just go for the featured back. Even though he looks a little dusty, the workload has just been too astronomical. Steelers or Dolphins team defense, asks Michael. Love them both this week. I think I lean Steelers at home today. Peter Santiago, good morning, fellas. Pick 2 for full PPR. Trey McBride, Rashee Rice, and Jamar Chase. I think this case, I'm going to go both receivers and bench McBride. And I love McBride. I have no issue going double tight end when McBride's that guy. Like, all right, let's go. I'm going to go Chase and Rice, though, is where I'm leaning for this one. Yeah, bench McBride at this point. Those receivers are just too great of options. We start in Achane? I am. Oh, yeah, the super chat. I'm so sorry. Campanelli reminded me. Thank you for popping up again. My God, I'm sorry I did not keep my promise to you super chatters there. Let me go back. Cutting the line here. Jay Collins, thank you so much for your patience. I hope you stuck around with us. Just might be missing that super chat. D. Johnson or Nico for the flex, please. Need help. I go Nico, no doubt about it. PPR leagues, it gets a little bit closer. But Deontay Johnson, I'm worried that Mike Tomlin is one of those guys that like respects the hard-nosed football plays. And when he did not go after that fumble, that's sketchy. Like, what if he gets benched for that? He just, the body control, the locker room fights. There's a lot of things trending wrong with Deontay, whereas everything kind of trends right for the Houston passing game, right? I'm all about Nico Collins. He has been absolutely ripping it this year. With Tank Dell a little bit banged up. I mean, look at Nico's last few games, 14, 14, and 23. And he's just been so steady all year. Tank Dell's a little bit banged up. No Dalton Schultz today as well. I get that if Surtain shadows either Collins or Tank Dell, the other one's going to blow up. He typically doesn't shadow completely like that. Either way, I got to go. I'd rather have a piece of the Texans offense passing game, right? That's on pace to shatter every rookie record that's ever been made. Give me that instead of a piece of, I get Kenny Pickett. They all look way better this last week. But absolutely go Nico over Deontay Johnson, John, or Jay Collins. I don't know why I think your name's John, but that's my guess. Let me know what your name is, Jay Collins. And then sit one, half PPR, Breece Hall, Kyron, Puka, Nico, Achane. I would go, I'm certainly not sitting Kyron. I would probably, I'm sitting Breece here, Chaz. Now, it comes down to your risk tolerance here. If you don't want to stomach De'Von Achane, that's going to be one of the questions of the day, De'Von Achane, right? I personally, I'm going for it. I'm swinging the bat. I'm going for the home run. The guy's been a top 5 running back. I know you guys have been with the whole stream here. You're probably sick of hearing this. Top 5 running back in all 3 of his full games, 32 fantasy points per game, 154 yards from scrimmage per game. The guy is an absolute animal when he plays a full game. There is obviously the risk that he doesn't. There's nothing I can do. I can't see the future and know if he's going to take a bad hit and be sat and get you 1 point. I know that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Had that not happened a week ago, people probably would not be asking about him. This guy is an absolute superstar and the best offense to use his speed. He still has 2 of the top 3 fastest ball carrier speeds in the NFL, despite not playing half the season. And then you got Breece Hall facing an Atlanta team giving up the second fewest points to back, averaging 30 rushing yards per game. If it was full PPR, he gets a little bit closer because of how many targets that Tim Boyle, 9 targets, threw his way. So I'm benching Breece Hall out of this. I'm lower on him this week. I don't think this offense is going to do anything against the Falcons. I'd rather just take that swing on Achane's upside here. I guess Puka could be considered a bench too with Cleveland, but I'd still rather have him in there for sure. Thank you so much for those super chats. And we got another one right before I got back to the mailbag. 314 Skip to Mahalou. Nice name. Pick 2, full PPR. Henry, Monty, Mostert, Moss, Javonte. Played Pollard already. How do you guys have these backfields? Are these 5-team leagues? I'm saying that respectfully. This is insane. What a great team you must have. 314 Mahalou to have this type of backfield. I lean here. I'm leaning Henry. I know full PPR, the guys I'm going to go aren't really full PPR guys, but I'm not benching Derrick Henry against Indy. 5th most points allowed to running backs. This is the type of dream matchup, fresh off a 21-point day. I'm going, it's a 10-man. I mean, you got a backfield, dude. Damn. I think this is a Henry smash spot, just like last week was. I always play Henry in these type of spots. December, Derrick Henry, we all know the stats. He goes from 4.5 yards per carry to 8. He just dominates teams this time of the year. So I'm going to go Henry. And then I think I'm going to go Moss. I mean, we talked about him quite a few times throughout this week, but without Jonathan Taylor in the lineup, this is a guy that put up running back 2 numbers behind only Christian McCaffrey, 22.5 fantasy points per game, over 80% of the snaps in all of those games. And last time against Tennessee, the team he faced, they 34 points in that game. It was an absolute animal. Averaged over 20 carries per game. Just a volume beast. Was second in the league in yardage over that span. Was the running back 3 total in fantasy from weeks 1 to 6. He missed week 1. Moss has been just such an absolute beast without him. You got Mostert. You have Achane coming back. As much as I love Mostert today, that's always kind of nibbled into his cheese. Monty, him or Gibbs is always kind of a back and forth. Javonte, just always a risk of getting game flowed out. To me, Henry and Moss. Henry does have the risk of getting game flowed out. The Colts just march down and score right off the bat. Boom. And it's not a great correlation to have both running backs here, but I could also just see this being a game where both running backs just go back and forth and go bananas too. So I'm probably here going to go Henry, and Moss. You got great options. I don't think you're going to go too wrong. But yeah, I think Moss and Henry are definitely the guys that I would go after. Hoosier coming in with another super chat. Thank you again so much for your generosity, guys, for your super chats here today. How do you value these handcuffs or stashes? Dowdle, Spears, Jeff Wilson, Chandler, Roschon, Freeman, or Carter? I have Connor. So I would say Spears and Dowdle are the top 2 handcuffs for me. That being said, it depends on how you're like. Are you talking about pure handcuff here? Because Roschon kind of took over that backfield last week. There was no Donta Foreman there, so that has to be noted. But he played 75% of the snaps. Khalil Herbert only saw 6 touches compared to 15 for Roschon. Like, as just a pure, like, I'm taking over this backfield, Roschon is already maybe the starter, not even just the handcuff. So of all these guys, just to like pick up if you needed usability, Roschon's the guy. He's not playing this week. I get that. But like, he kind of took over this backfield. After that, though, if we're talking like pure, just like if the starter goes down, who has the most value? Dowdle, Spears, 1 and 2. I would probably move Dowdle ahead of Spears just because of how good that Cowboys offense is. But Spears is in a great running environment should he take over. I would then go – I feel like Chandler's kind of like at this point. Carter, you have Connor, but like I don't know if he's that valuable. Royce Freeman, no. Like, nah. I would say Dowdle, Spears are certainly the priorities. Jeff Wilson, Chandler, Roschon are like the next tier. Roschon just being like the most immediate valuable guy here, Hoosier. I would say Jeff Wilson, honestly, is just a pure handcuff, probably more value than Chandler, who we saw starting to get phased out. I like Chandler, though. I like the player. I just hate his role in this offense. Chandler and Roschon are similar, though, where like they don't need an injury to potentially take over the backfield. So like they have a little bit more. But if we're, again, talking just pure stash, Dowdle, Spears, prioritize them. That's the key. And then pure stash, Jeff Wilson. But I do think Chandler or Roschon I would probably have on my bench ahead of Jeff Wilson. Going Roschon, then Chandler, then Wilson, unless it's strictly just a pure stash. Then I think Wilson, in case something happens to Mostert and Achane, I mean, he would be an animal. We've seen stuff happen to both those guys throughout their career, right? So that's where I don't think Freeman or Carter are in this conversation. Double super chat, Hoosier. Thank you so much for your support here. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll back over 115, a record day. We are so pumped to see so many of you here with us live. It is so greatly appreciated. It looks like we have one more super chat that I want to make sure to get to. Just popped in right before I did that. But if you don't have the means to super chat, that's totally fine. A free way to help your boy, though, is that thumbs up button with over 113 of you. Let's keep snowballing that out. Maybe we get to 100 likes on the video for the first time ever, but we're setting new records today, baby. A lot of new names in the chat. Please do consider subscribing to the channel as we get to your questions. Would mean the world. We're trying to climb to 4K. Maybe this is the day we do it. Achane or Singletary for the flex spot. Ooh, you're near. So if you want a really in-depth breakdown of this, I'll give you one right now too. But go to rotostreetjournal.com. It's my website. I wrote about those exact 2+ Breece Hall and a running back sit-start article this week. So check that one out. I think that will be a really good, helpful article to give you so much context on both of these guys. I had this one earlier. I think it was Giuseppe Russo who asked this one earlier. And I don't like to hedge my answers, but this is what I will say for this one. They're 18 and 19 in my range. I love them both. If you just need that, like you're a favorite, let's say you're a 5 to 10 plus point favorite, you got to go Singletary. He's safer, 81% of the snaps. I know that we saw Dameon Pierce mix in for 5 carries last week compared to 6 for Singletary. What the hell was that? Only 19% of the snaps went to Dameon Pierce, though. Singletary, meanwhile, got a huge bump in receiving workload in terms of routes run, targets, receptions, all season highs. That was a great floor to see. And with Pierce looking so bad, like there's a real chance those 81% of the snaps just stay that way and Pierce doesn't get any work at this point. And Singletary just dominates it against the best matchup for running backs on the year. I know the Denver defense has been better, but they're still giving a lot of points up to running backs. So safety-wise, you're getting 10, maybe 15 out of Singletary with the ceiling for 21. Like you could, if he gets in the end zone, really hit 20 points. So most spots, I am probably leaning Singletary for the safety. But again, De'Von Achane, top 5 running back in his 3 games played. Let's say you face DK Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb and you're a heavy underdog at this point, or you're just facing the best team in the league and you're in a rough spot at this point. Then Achane, nobody has a higher ceiling. Like we've talked about, more points than Christian McCaffrey in his 3 full games, 32 points per game. And It wasn't just one huge blow up, lifting it all up. Sure, he did blow up for 50 points. That's what we're talking about. Like that could swing you right back into a matchup, even though you're a heavy underdog. But he also put up 25, 26 in those other ones. Was a top 5 running back in all 3 of those games. That's the kind of play that if you are a heavy underdog or you found yourself getting slapped around by DK and CD Lamb on Thursday night, yeah, you can plug in Achane at that point, and maybe he can lift you out of the hole. So I know that seems like a hedgy answer. Most cases, I am just going for the safety of Singletary, letting it rip, especially even if it's just like a 50-50 matchup. I'd probably just rather play Singletary, play it safe, get my points, because we know the risk with Achane. One bad hit. He lessened 1 carry last time out, and then boom, he's gone. But ultimately, if you need that upside, it really does exist. So I would go Singletary most cases, but Yaniv, if you really need that upside narrative, then you could plug in Achane. But Singletary is probably the play in most cases. Puka Nacua or Garrett Wilson for my flex, asks Frosty. I lean Puka, both in tough matchups. AJ Terrell for Garrett Wilson, a lockdown number 1 corner with Tim Boyle at quarterback. I mean, if I'm looking for reasons to sit him. Puka Nacua also in a tough spot. Cleveland, the fewest passing yards in the league, second fewest points, 2 wide receivers. So I get why he's sketchy today. Absolutely. 2 sketchy receivers. Let the quarterback be the deciding factor. Let's go with Matthew Stafford. Plus, with Ward out for the Browns, that could maybe open up a little bit of value there for Puka Nacua. So, yeah, I like Puka there over Garrett Wilson for sure. All righty, Wolfpack. That wraps up our super chats for now. So we're going to get back into a very, very loaded mailbag. Over 130 of you here. Another plea, if you could hit that thumbs up button, it would really help us out. And another thing that could help us both out, you and us, Rotobot.AI. So App.Rotobot.AI. Check out that site. It is our newly developed. We're launching the beta today. Over 130 are here. We'd love to get half of you. However many of you that want to get while you're waiting for your answers, check out App.Rotobot.AI. Log in, ask your questions there. Get some AI-driven insight. This is your 24/7 fantasy football assistant coach. He's there for you. 30 free credits if you try it out today. You can get all your questions in there. And then, of course, if you send us some feedback, we're willing to keep updating those 30 free credits. If you give us some good notes at Roto Street Wolf or submit the feedback button, all that good stuff. This is a way, while you're waiting for me to get to your question, check out App.Rotobot.AI. Help us get this thing growing and better. We're so proud of where we've gotten it, and we could definitely see it continuing to grow throughout today. So check it out, App.Rotobot.AI. Would mean the world to get some more subscribers to our YouTube page, but also to keep growing that beta that we've got there. All righty, we are back to the regular questions. Thanks again for your generous super chats, for all your support today, Wolfpack. You guys are awesome. Record-setting day, over 130 of you live. So many new names again, so please do, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to Roto Street Journal on YouTube here to help grow our channel as we climb towards 4K. We would love to have more and more of you here each and every Sunday where we answer your questions and throughout the rest of the week. All right, so we left off, I believe it was Pete Santiago at this point. Peter Santiago, good morning, fellas. Pick 2 for full PPR. Trey McBride, receiver rights. Oh, yeah, so we benched McBride on that one. And it looks like another super chat. You guys are awesome, but Elijah Hernandez, you've probably heard me mention Achane quite a few times at this point. Yes, I am absolutely down to start Achane. It depends on who your other options are, for sure. All righty, 314 with another super chat. Thank you so much. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Is it possible to win a matchup without a kicker? Had to drop Koo for Moss, and I'm nervous. Oh, man. 314, is it possible? Absolutely. If your team's a beast and you feast, yeah, you don't need a kicker. Sometimes kickers will get you 3 points, and it does nothing for you. So I have a league right now where I'm rolling. I don't want to drop anyone on my bench. So how I play this 314 skip to my loop, and I don't know if your league allows it. In Yahoo, for me, it does. I'm waiting it out until Monday night. Brandon McManus is on my league. I hope my opponent's not watching me here. And if I am already done and won, great. I'm not going to drop anybody to pick up the kicker. If I have to, I got a guy on my bench. Look at Keaton Mitchell. I don't want to drop him at all. 45% of the snaps over Gus Edwards last week, only at 27%. I want Keaton Mitchell on my team. But I might have to drop him if I am down by 5, down by 10, and I need that kicker. Then, yeah, I'm going to drop someone on my bench. But a lot of leagues do lock your bench when someone's played, so you have to know your settings. I would have 100% done what you did, though. I love Koo. I would have dropped Koo for Moss. Yeah, Moss is a a top 5 running back when JT's not in there. So I think this is a good move. Obviously, it depends on how your team performs and can you win with a kicker? Yeah, I've done it before plenty of times. I think it's a great strategy. I fully endorse the deal, but I do want to have that caveat that, yeah, like it does sometimes, if you can drop somebody on Sunday night or Monday night and get a kicker should you need one, that's when I really feel good about doing this move too. But yes, I would have done the same thing. I think Moss is 100% worth dropping your kicker for, and we could figure it out from there. But let us know, 314 skip to my Lou, like, can you drop people from there? Can you pick people up? Because, yeah, then it starts to get tricky. Robert Simmons in first place in the league, but need a receiver from the wire. Parker, Guyton, Mingo, or tight end Brevin Jordan. We're digging into the weeds here, Robert. I would say I'm leaning Parker, I think. The Chargers give up the most points to wide receivers other than the Eagles. I believe it's 1 and 2 right there. So we're going to, as a Pats fan, we're going to get demolished, I imagine. And we're going to need to throw to somebody to catch up. And Zappe at least had a little bit of zip on the pass, a little bit of leadership there. Parker had 7 points last week. And no Demario Douglas. Targets are certainly up for grabs here in New England. It could be Hunter Henry. It could be Parker. I also do like Brevin Jordan a lot in that number 1 matchup for tight ends with no Dalton Schultz. We know CJ Stroud hyped up his boy earlier this week. To me, it comes down to those two. Of course, Guyton obviously has the deep touchdown upside. And he, first play of the game, you could see like an 80-yard bomb, Guyton, and I could see Robert Simmons saying, F you, Wolf, I paid you, and this is what we get. I could see that. But to me, the safer option, the guys that have the better shot at seeing a steady bevy of targets here would be Devontae Parker and then Brevin Jordan. I do lean Parker here. It's famous last words, but he did seem to kind of take over that number 1 role, especially when Douglas got knocked out last week. He's got the matchup. So both guys got the matchup. I'm going to probably go for the number 1 receiver here in that case. All righty. That, again, cleans up our Super Chats. Guys, you've been so generous with your Super Chats today. Thank you so much for it. Again, seeing so many new names here. Would love to have you guys sub on over the channel. Continue to grow the Wolfpack over here, nearing 4K subscribers. This is a record day. Over 125 of you live with us. We are so happy to see it. We're so pumped and proud to have you here with us. So we have here, we left off with it. Should we start? Achane, and I said, of course, if you, I love Achane this week. Obviously, there's a risk, but man, I'm probably putting it in there. I have Spears, but I'm not a Henry owner. Would be smarter for me to pick up Gainwell as a Swift owner? I don't think so. I don't think you have to play that game because even if Swift goes down, yeah, Gainwell would probably be a quality running back too. Whereas if Henry goes down, Spears is probably a low-end running back 1. The upside of the best-case scenarios. Now, who's more likely to get hurt? Probably Swift. We've seen him get hurt, and Henry's just a tank. But Henry's also almost 30 at this point. So there is a chance that the carry cliff does hit him. That schedule, too, is really good for both these guys, actually. So Tunes, that's a good one. Which handcuff is better? I do think it's Spears, but especially if you feel great about your team and you're just like, I want to ride this team chemistry, and if Swift goes down, I just want to keep it all the same, then yeah, I really don't hate that move at all. Probably I might pull that move and just kind of get your own insurance policy. Elijah, start 2, Achane, Bijan, Stevenson. I would go... I think I'm going Etienne and Bijan. Now, Stevenson has really been picking it up these last few weeks. He is safer. This is going to kind of be the preface. You know what? I would probably just stay Stevenson, Bijan, play it safe. 23, 13, 22. No Demario Douglas, so probably going to be more involved in the passing game. 78% of snaps last week. Kind of back to that Stevenson role that we knew and loved for so long for last year. That's why he was going around 3 and 4. Not for me. I had him as a bust this year, but he's back to the role that made him so valuable, made him so highly drafted. And then Bijan, back-to-back 20-point days. Only Christian McCaffrey has more points per game in their last 3. He's rolling right now. And the Jets are a good matchup for running back. So as much as I love Achane, you have 2 good enough options, Elijah, that you don't really need to absorb the risk. Because the risk is, I want to make sure I get this out there because I've talked about Achane so much and how much I love him. There is very, very real risk. The last time he was out there, he lasted exactly 1 touch. I am aware of that. I understand it. I'm a guy that's willing to absorb that risk for a top 5 running back, in every single start he's made. I typically will do that. But when I have Bijan and Stevenson, 2 other top 15 guys right here for me, I'd rather just go with the floor. They have similar ceilings, not quite. Nobody has Achane ceiling, but the floor and ceiling combo of Bijan and Stevenson, this is a good question to kind of measure it out. I'd rather not have to take that risk on of Achane for this type of question. Then we got full PPR. Pick one. Dortch, Dobbs, Spears, Justin Watson. Ugh, ugly. I would probably go Greg Dortch out of all these options, and full PPR especially. Again, anytime he's played 66% of the snaps, he has ultimately put up 14.8 fantasy points per game. We got another super chat coming in. Thank you, Doug Fenton, cutting the line here with his super chat. Thank you for the support. You consistently are supporting your boy here, and it is appreciated. Full PPR, 2 receivers. Devonta Smith, Tank, Puka, Kirk, also Ingram or Muth. Great question. I would lean Devonta Smith and Tank here. Puka gets Cleveland defense, second fewest points allowed the receivers. Even with that injury this week to Ward, I still probably lean those other two. And I love Kirk too. I mean, it's a great matchup for him against Cincinnati as well. But Devonta has been cooking without Dallas Goedert. And then Tank Dell. I mean, come on. We're not benching Tank Dell. We know that at this point. The number one weapon for CJ Stroud. I guess he has a little bit of risk because he's coming in less than 100% today. But I will never bench Tank Dell. Certainly not for Puka or Kirk today. All great options, though, Doug Fenton. And then Ingram or Muth. I'm going to stick with Ingram here. I know the guy, the longest streak right now in the NFL in terms of targets without a touchdown. Tells you he's due. He gets the matchup that Muth just absolutely demolished against Cincinnati. Second most points allowed to tight ends on the year. They run the 2 high shells where just tight ends obliterate them. And part of me just feels like Ingram is due for that huge blow-up game. This is certainly the team to do it against. So I'm going to go Ingram over Muth. Let's see what the Steelers offense. Can they put back-to-back really big days up? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. So we will see there. And then another super chat from Billy Bishop. Thank you so much for your support. Start 3 out of these 5, half PPR. Kyren, Pacheco, Puka, Warren, and Ramondre. Whew. So I am going to – Puka's my bench. So now it comes down to these 4 running backs in terms of Kyren, Pacheco, Warren, and Ramondre. How can we bench Kyren? I mean, over 20 points in 5 of 7 starts. The guy's an animal. He's Todd Gurley 2.0. Maybe not, he's probably 80% of the player Todd Gurley, but he's seen the exact same workload. So he's put about 95% of his fantasy production. So I'm going Kyren for sure there. And then Pacheco, Warren, Ramondre. This gets really tricky. I like Pacheco, no McKinnon today. We saw it last week in terms of like without Pacheco, without McKinnon in the lineup. They did not give that work to CEH like a lot of people speculated. We talked about how I saw this one on Fantasy Points, shout those guys out, that CEH had not played a single third down snap all year, and that Pacheco was probably going to get that work. And he sure did. 5 catches, 34 yards, in addition to 55 yards, and then those 2 touchdowns. 26 fantasy points. They're running back 4 last week, playing right around 70% of the snaps and the touches there. So, yeah, I absolutely love Pacheco this week. I'm going him. I'm going Kyren as my top 2 options. Comes down to Warren or Ramondre for your last spot. And to me, I'm going to lean the featured back there, and that's Ramondre. It had been a committee with Zeke for quite a few weeks, but after last week, again, 78% of the snaps was back to that Ramondre Wool. As much as I love Warren's matchup, could he explode this week? Absolutely. Like Arizona, that's the team that Kyren just pasted 38 points on. Like Warren absolutely has that narrative. But we just saw last week, like him and Najee are just constantly flipping and flopping. It could be a Najee week if they get big up early and they're trying to bleed the clock out. Ramondre, meanwhile, might be the only weapon in this entire Pats offense today. So, yeah, I think Kyren, Pacheco, and Ramondre are my favorite 3 options here. Warren's very close. He's only a couple spots below Stevenson. So, man, if that's what you feel. But Puka's the easiest bench here for me of all these guys, especially in a half PPR. And then I do bench Warren over Ramondre as the last one there. But Kyren and Pacheco are my absolute locks, no matter what there. Billy Bishop. Thank you again so much. So many super chats coming in, Wolfpack, and now we're up to nearly 150. What a day we are having. Again, talking about setting the records here. This is incredible. This is amazing. It is so greatly appreciated, Wolfpack. Thank you so much. That thumbs up is helping us out so much. You guys are helping us get out to more people. So many new names. Please do hit that sub button and join the Wolfpack. Come help us out and continue to grow the pack. We left off at Zubat Slayer. Achane, Puka, Rice, Christian Watson, start 2. Whew, this is a really good one. So I'm taking Watson out of the question here. I know he had that one big week last week. It's great to see him play with Jordan Love and show out. but I am probably going. I think I'm going to go Achane and Puka here. Now, again, this is the similar preface to all the Achane ones. If you don't need to absorb the risk, if you're a heavy favorite, go Rice and Puka and just kind of call it a day. But to me, I think this is one where I do absorb the risk of Achane in 90% of cases, unless I'm a very heavy favorite. So I'm going to go Achane and Puka, very slightly Puka over Rice. I'm a big fan of Rice this week, but I cannot bench Achane's upside against Washington today in most cases there. Quinton Davis, flex one, Mixon or Singletary. I would go Singletary definitely over Mixon. Best matchup, 80% of snaps last week. I don't really love Mixon. Didn't show out well with Browning at quarterback, and now it's even sketchier against the Jags team that's really good against the run. McBride or Taysom Hill. I'd go Taysom Hill. Oh, man, that's a good one, Aladdin. McBride is officially active today. Oh man, another tough question here. I have them at tight end 4 and 5. Hill is the ceiling play against Detroit. There's no doubt about it. But I do kind of just love McBride's volume. I love his role. Ertz is gone. He's kind of, not that he's been playing, but 9, 7, and 9 targets in the 3 games with Kyler Murray. 21, 9, and 13 points in his last 3 games, and 26 pointer just 4 games ago too. I'm going to go Trey McBride. Just so steady these last few weeks is where I'm leaning. It looks like another super chat. Wolfpack, you guys are so awesome today. So generous. Much appreciated. Figgy Figoro, big help. Tight end and wide receiver, PPR. Gerald Everett or Tanner Hudson. We are digging in the weeds here, Figgy. I love it. And then at wide receiver, Deontay or Jonathan Mingo. So at the tight end question, I am going to go Everett. I get Hudson. I actually kind of showed a decent rapport there with Browning, but if I can go for Justin Herbert, I'm taking a flyer, right? I got to let the quarterback quality at that point decide, because Everett and Hudson are both kind of flyers at this point. I would absolutely rather go with the guy in the Justin Herbert-led offense coming off a pretty good day too, right, Gerald Everett? Ultimately, last time out there, got the touchdown, 4 catches, 43 in the score with the tight end 6. There's always the risk that Parham ends up intercepting that touchdown there. He's been such a big vulture all year. But yeah, I'm going to go Gerald Everett there for sure. And then Deontay versus Mingo. I'm definitely going Deontay. And I'm not even a huge Deontay guy, but like Mingo, why attach myself to that horrendous, one of the worst passing attacks we've seen in a long time. Bryce Young just looks completely lost out there. I get Mingo's target share continues to go up and up and up by the week. But Deontay, he's so close to having a 4-catch, 50-yard touchdown day last week. Just barely got knocked out of his hands. And I get the effort play. And what if he gets benched for that? I'm scared of it too. But Mingo, that's not a good enough reason to bench what I expect. I have Deontay as a fringe top 25 guy. He's always been that. He's got a good matchup here against Arizona as well. 14, 9, 4, 8, and 8 targets in his last 4 games. Really solid. And again, we could have been talking about a 15-point day, not a 9-point day last week. The floor is just so much higher with Deontay in this offense that's trending upwards against an Arizona team that's just horrendous everywhere. So yeah, I would go with Deontay, and I would go with Gerald Everett there, Figgy Figuro. And then we got 2 more super chats. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your generosity today. Flex 1, Achane and Warren. Achane, Warren, Hollywood, or Cooper. So this comes down definitely, David, to the 2 running backs, Achane versus Warren. Cross the receivers off this. They're good options, but not nearly as good as your 2 running backs, in my opinion. And it's a similar answer like the Singletary Achane one that I had earlier. Whereas if you need the ceiling, let's say you got battered by DK, CeeDee Lamb, Achane is unmatchable in terms of ceiling. Again, more points than Christian McCaffrey in his 3 full games this year, 32 over 32 points per game, 154 yards from scrimmage on average in his 3 full starts. There's no ceiling like this. And now he gets a Washington team without his top 2 D linemen. Already was a top 10 matchup for running backs, and over the last 5 weeks, has been a top 2 matchup for running backs. Achane, as long as he plays this game, is probably going to put up top 6 numbers. We got the track record there. It's the good matchup and his track record. If he stays healthy, he's probably going to do that. All that to say, though, Warren gets the second best matchup for running backs in Arizona. Just got obliterated for 38 points by Kyron Williams last week. And Warren's such a big play guy himself. I mean, leading the NFL in yards, broken tackles per attempt, and so many efficiency metrics that are so important. So I really like Warren today too. And he's the safer play. You know he's going to get 15-ish touches. It could end up being Harris gets the touchdowns and Warren doesn't truly get there. But that floor is so safe with Jaylen Warren. So I'd say 80% of the time, if I am just in a neutral matchup, or especially if I'm a favorite, I'm going to go Jaylen Warren. 14, 19, 24, and then 7 points in his last 4 games. Like all very, very solid. Whereas Achane does have that risk of maybe he doesn't get the full workload, or maybe he takes one bad hit and he's out again. If I can see Etienne make it through a game, I'd kind of rather do that. But ultimately, I would go, most cases, I'm going to go Warren and play it safe there for sure. And then our other super chat coming in from Jake Lewis. Thank you so much, Jake, for the super chat. Start 2 PPR, Mostert, Bijan, Monty. I would go here. I love all 3 of these guys, Jake. I would probably bench Mostert of these guys. Just because if Etienne is fully ready to go, like he's in a great spot today. And we've seen him, I don't know. I'll say this. I like Bijan the most, and I know that's famous last words. His usage has gotten better, particularly in the red zone. That's where we've really seen him spike. He went from a non-red zone option to now 75% of the red zone snaps in back-to-back games. So I really like Bijan, and that's really had a huge positive impact. Only Christian McCaffrey has more points per game across their last 3. So I like Bijan Robinson. I think he's my favorite option. Monty gets a New Orleans team giving the 8th most rushing yards in the league. This could be a bleed it out against them type of situation. So I like Monty, but Mostert, a 29-point favorite here, a 29-point implied team total. I mean, that's insane, the Dolphins. That definitely suggests a Mostert script. To me, Mostert's the one that is most likely to fail out of these options in terms of just puts up 7-8 points. Whereas, you're getting Monty probably getting in the end zone. He has been so rock solid all year. 4 of his 7 games have been top 12. All 7 of his full games have been, top 20, top 15, really. So I love David Montgomery. I think he's such a nice, safe, baked-in floor. So I think I'm going Bijan Monty out of these options, Jake Lewis. And then Doug Fenton coming in with another super chat. Thank you so much, Doug. Chiefs or Jags D? So I like this question a lot, Doug. In a vacuum today, I go Jags. However, the Chiefs playoff schedule, they get the Bills next week. So that's not a great defensive matchup. You might have to just stomach it and eat it. But if you do stomach and eat that, their playoff schedule is so good. I'm stashing 2 defenses. I've seen the Chiefs get dropped in a lot of leagues. I pick them right up because they have the best playoff schedule among defenses. They've been a great defense all year as well. So if it's one or the other, and then you get to keep the Chiefs for the longevity, they're close enough this week that I'd say, yeah, just go Chiefs and stash them for the rest of the year. But if it's just 1 week and you have to choose between these 2, I like the Jags more this 1 week against Jake Browning for sure at home Monday night. They're 3rd in the NFL in takeaways. I really like the Jags D as a 1 week stream this week. They also have a decent playoff schedule themselves too, but the Chiefs are just I can't let them go. So if it's you had to drop the Chiefs to get the Jags, then no. If you have them both and it's just one or the other, yeah, it's the Jags for me this week is how I would play that. All righty, Wolfpack. That wraps up the super chat. So we're going to get back to the stream. Normally this does wrap up at 10 a.m., but as promised, because I did spend a decent amount of time hyping up one more time to App.Rotobot.AI, we're going to do our best now to mow through as many questions. I'm going to fire up the rapid fire as I do. I'm going to set a 15-minute timer. I'm going to hit as many questions as I can in 15 minutes. But if I can't get to you, and I apologize already if I can't, because this is just a record-setting day, I don't know that I'll be able to get to every single question we've got here. We start at 10 a.m. We usually go to we start at 8 a.m. We usually go to just 10 a.m. here. So I do want to go a little longer, but I will pump up App.Rotobot.AI. Me and an amazing team have been working on this for months and months since the spring of last year. We're finally ready to launch the beta. So if you want some insight on all your picks, check out App.Rotobot.AI. we hope we can help you out, but it also would greatly help us out to know what you guys are asking, what you want answers to. So the next week we can get it even better for your sit starts when we launch another version of this and continue to help it grow. Your feedback, you can send it directly to me at RotoStreetWolf or the submit feedback buttons. But every question you ask helps this thing get a little bit smarter. So check out App.Rotobot.AI. It would mean the world to get so many of you. You're such great fans. You're so awesome. We wanted to release the beta just to the live stream. We haven't put it live on my Twitter or on our website. We just wanted the fans that are here every Sunday asking the questions, wanted to get you guys the first taste of this and get your feedback, get your thoughts on what we can do to keep growing this thing and make it one of the biggest, best tools in fantasy. We're so proud of where it is, but we'd love you guys. Again, App.Rotobot.AI would be awesome if you could check that out for us, App.Rotobot.ai. If we can't, well, you're waiting for me to get to your question, or if we don't get to you, it's another way to get all your insight that you might need for that. All righty, guys. I am going to now start this 15-minute timer. Thank you again for checking all that out for us, Wolfpack. I guess the one last thing, well, I have so many here. If you are a Wolfpack diehard here and you want to support your boy in the holiday season, it is the time of the year to potentially get your Roto Street gear here. And you could ultimately check out shop.rotostreetjournal.com. We have our new fantasy football line. So we have all our RSJ gear, hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts, tank tops, sweatpants. The new RSJ beanies are so awesome. We have, if you want to punish your losers, a whole I Suck at Fantasy collection. As you can see, the clowns, the crying Jordan faces, the shame bell lady. We have all that stuff. We have your sleeper baby collection if you want to ultimately show off on your kid. The sleeper collection here for your child. We have RSJ onesies, all that good stuff. So the holiday season is nearly upon us. And if you get your orders in this week, it should be delivered to you by your for your gifts. So please do check that out. It's another way to support your guys. You guys have been so generous today with your super chats. Potentially consider getting some RSJ gear, whether it's the Roto Street Journal swag, whether it's the I Suck fantasy line. That could be another great thing, another good way to support your boy here. All righty, let's get to our rapid fire. Enough promotions. Again, Rotobot, App.Rotobot.AI, shop.rotostreetjournal.com. We got one more super chat I will hit to make sure we get that cleared out for you. And then it is on to the rapid fire. RJ, again, with a super chat. Much appreciated. Flex Achane over Kirk, or does his knee explode? I mean, the knee exploding is certainly the risk there with Achane, but I'm just going to give that 2-second summary. You guys have probably heard me talk about Achane a million times here. To me, I'd rather have Achane over Kirk. This is one where the upside is worth the risk. Now, this is a similar one where Kirk's floor, very nice, very baked in. If you're in a 5 to 10 point favorite or more, probably just play it safe. Get Kirk in there, feel good about it. But Achane, if you're the underdog, if you just face DK, this is a guy, top 5 running back performances in all 3 of his full starts, 32 points per game, 154 yards per game. He is an absolute monster when he plays a full game. And he gets a Washington team that is getting demolished since trading Montez Sweat and Chase Young. An absolute perfect matchup for a explosive. 2 of the top 3 speed carries on the year are still De'Von Achane, despite him only playing half the season. There's probably a very good chance, as long as he makes it through the game, we're going to see a 50-yard touchdown from him. So I really do think I go Achane in most cases, unless you are such a heavy favorite, you just want the safe points of Christian Kirk. I can get that, but I personally am going to go Achane probably 75% of situations if I had this one, Achane versus Kirk. So thank you again so much for the super chat. If you guys want more in-depth breakdown on De'Von Achane, I wrote him up all over at rotostreetjournal.com. I have a sit-start article featuring him, Breece Hall, and Singletary. Achane was my favorite option of all 3 of them. I'm just going to go with that. So I would check that out. And Giuseppe saying the link's not working. Can you confirm that, Campanelli? Did you try out App.Rotobot.AI? App.Rotobot.AI, is that not working? I hope it's working. We have so many here. Keep pulling it up. Hopefully the pump is working here. Double check that for me, Campanelli. He gives me the thumb up. So Giuseppe, maybe you typed it in. Rotobot, R-O-T-O-B-O-T, App.Rotobot.AI. It should be working though. All righty, I'm setting the 15-minute timer. Let's see how many questions I can mow through. Thank you guys so much. What an awesome day. Record setting, 150 of you live with me. 160 thumbs up button, guys. would be the world to help us get out to more people. Shares, likes, retweets, and of course, any new subs to the YouTube channel is so greatly appreciated as we climb to 4K. Let's go to the rapid fire mode. Let's see how many we can get through. One last call, though, that thumbs up button. One last call for App.Rotobot.AI. Go check out all those insights that it can bring you and give us any feedback. Help us continue to grow that. And then, of course, shop.rotostreetjournal.com. If you want to support your guys, get some hoodies like this, some sweatshirts, all that good stuff. The beanies are awesome. I'm going to get those. And I will say, anybody local next weekend, we're going live at Old Planters. I haven't even really started to pump that. But if you're local or you feel like traveling out to see your boy, Old Planters Brewery in Beverly, Massachusetts. We're going to be live in person. I can sign your babies. No, but we'd love to have you guys come join us at the brewery for some great beers, some great fantasy banter. I'll still do our morning show, and then I'll have to sign off at 10 to go get set up at the brewery. We're going to do a live show, live giveaways, all that fun stuff. So a lot of promotions today. I appreciate you guys bearing with it. Let's now dive on in to what you guys want, the answers to your questions. 15-minute rapid fire. Diego, full PPR, start 2. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Jaden Reed. I'm just going to go both Texans receivers, stack it on up. You're welcome, Diego. Pick 3, half PPR. Gibbs, Monty, White, Mixon, Singletary. I'm going to go both of the Lions guys, and I'm going to go Rashad White. If you didn't want to go both Lions guys, I'd bench Gibbs and put in Singletary, but I'd probably play both Lions guys. Ronald Mikos, we're going Chase, Singletary, or Kirk. I would go Chase over those other options, even though I like all 3 of them, Ronald Mikos. Great options overall. King Snow, should I drop Deontay Johnson or Amari Cooper for Curtis Samuel? I would I'd stick it out and see how he does today with another game of Kenny Pickett. Let's go. Howell or Murray Superflex? I would go Murray. Giuseppe. 61 people here. Show the Wolf some love. Like, share, subscribe. We got 150. Yeah. Like, share, subs. Indeed. Thank you, Giuseppe, for pumping it up to the chat. Carr or Baker for a bye week replacement? I would go Carr this week. Andrew Farino with Olave now officially in the lineup. Top 8 numbers against the Lions. They've given up a top 8 quarterback in 4 of the last 5 games. And the only one was not Jimmy Garoppolo. Justin R. Pick 2. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson. I'm going to go Christian Kirk. I got to go one of the Jets here, Justin. I don't love it. I would probably go Breece Hall, I think, over Garrett Wilson. Hey, Wolf, Ford or Eckler? I'd go Eckler, and I'm low on Eckler today, but it could just be that week. The ankle's finally healed up, and he looks like himself again. I can't bench Eckler for Ford. Sean Hales, Brevin Jordan or Gerald Everett? I actually like Brevin Jordan more than Gerald Everett this week as the number 1 tight end, the number 1 matchup for tight ends rather. Rest of season, D. Browns or Niners? I guess Niners. I don't know the schedule well enough. Grind don't stop for defenses rest of the season. Chiefs are the only one I really know because their playoff schedule is so golden. Puka or Kirk? I'm going to go Puka just slightly over Kirk there. Who scores more, Rice or Olave? I go Olave there. Great matchup for him. He's healthy. He's playing. That's where I roll. Need 3 standard league. Cup, Puka, Rice, Dell. So we're benching one of these guys. I think I bench Cup. I don't want to double stack Cup and Puka. You pick your favorite of the 2, Thomas. I personally bench Cup, I think. Tough one, though. 11-1 clinch first spot. Do I drop Tucker for Lutz, Group A, or Gay, or keep him? Take the 0. I'd probably just take the 0, and especially if you think you can make it. And Barry, but I guess Tucker's not really like that insane either. But yeah, if you think you can get the win, you want to keep that bye for sure. Let's plant some teas. Unless you have that bye locked up, or especially if you get that first place, like a payment for it, then you want to keep it. And then you super chat us one earlier, TK. I said I would go both tight ends there. Achane, Swift, Henry, Javonte Williams, drop one. Oh, you have to drop one of these? Why do you have to drop one? I guess Javonte would be the one I drop, Steve. But, I mean, if you got to just drop a kicker or a defense instead, I'd rather take the 0 than drop one of those absolute studs myself. Flex, Mostert, T-Dell, Nico Collins, Amari Cooper. I'd go Tank Dell here, Steven. In a full PPR league. Mostert would be my next one up. Full PPR, Eckler or Moss. I'm going to go Moss there, Grady Roberts. And that is a case where I would bench Eckler until I start seeing him look healthy again. Swift, Mixon, or Javonte Williams. I would go Javonte Williams here, Steven Hernandez. Optimized lineup, benched Bijan for Rice. There's no way in hell I'm doing that. No, I'd go Bijan over Rice myself. I would not do that either. Grind don't stop. Puka or Kirk. I would go so I'm putting you in timeout, Enlo. I see your repetition multiple times here. Caught him lacking. I don't know what that means, but sure. QB, Jordan Love or Minshew or Mayfield. I would go Jordan Love, Steven Hernandez of those ones. What 2 players would you start in the flex spot between Deontay Johnson, Javonte Williams, and Devin Singletary. I'd bench Deontay Johnson there, even though the full PPR really does help him out. What up, Johnny? Love the show. Thank you. Likes and subs would be appreciated if you enjoyed the show. Be awesome. Herbert or Tua? I'm going Tua in that beautiful matchup today against Washington. He should go bananas. Can't decide who to start. You super chat us that one, Levi, and I said Javonte, but it's close. Sit Cooper, Dylan, and pick up Greg Torch. Woo! Spicy from Nissan Rob there. Indeed. Full PPR. Flex. Cup, Connor, Williams, leaning Javonte, as I don't have much faith in Cup or Connor. Yeah, it comes down to I wouldn't play Connor for sure, and I would probably go Javonte over Cup right now. But full PPR, I mean, we're going to get that Cup week at some point for sure. But I would probably go Javonte myself there too. Alrighty, JT expected to miss 3 to 5 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be Zach Moss going to be a league winner, which is nuts. Kirk over Puka. Yeah, I would go Kirk over Puka, probably safer at this point. Moshe's a must start. Yeah, I would say so. It depends who your other options are, but probably. But with Achane back, yeah, I mean, Nissan Rob's answering the questions for me. Achane does definitely nibble into that workload for sure. Full PPR, RB2, Hunt, Freeman, or Pierce. If I win, I'm in the playoffs. If I lose, I'm eliminated. Whew, we got a big one for you, Ryan. I would probably go Hunt. I don't really like any of these options, but Freeman gets the Cleveland defense. Pierce just sucks. So, yeah, I go Kareem Hunt. He's been a decent source of touchdowns throughout the year. Good morning. I need a defense. Jets, Chargers, Colts, and Dolphins are available. I would go probably the Chargers. No, I'd go Dolphins for sure. They have a good matchup next week, too. They've been getting after the quarterback really well. Deontay Johnson or Nico for the flex. Jay Collins, I would go Nico for sure. Purdy or Murray, I'm definitely going Brock Purdy in that shootout today, David Campanelli. Etienne or Warren, full PPR. If you're worried about Etienne, yeah, definitely go Warren. But I personally will just stick it out with Etienne. He's been so good all year. Blake, should I start Najee, Brees, or Achane? I would go Achane there, Blake, unless you really need the defense. Nissan Rob, by the way, I absolutely agree that Atlanta is by far the best defense stream of the week. A great spot for them. Hunt or Pirine? I would go Hunt over Pirine today. And low, I got to make sure you're getting timeout. Too many repeats here. Put user in timeout. Alrighty. And then we are on Hassan. So Hassan asking, good morning, full PPR. Who should start as my second wide receiver between Kupp, Higgins, or Dortch? I have Cheetah at wide receiver 1, Montgomery at flex, White, Stevenson between Kupp, Higgins, or Dortch. I would go Kupp. I know it's win or go home. You got to go with your guy there and go with Kupp. If you really want safety, honestly, Dortch might be the safest option there. But I have a really hard time ever thinking about benching Kupp for Dortch, even though he has been rough. He's off the injury report. He's practicing full. I'm going to go Kupp there. Watson or Dotson at flex. I'd go Watson there. JGL, great to see him finally connect with Jordan Love there. Tank Dell or Puka. I would go Tank Dell for sure over Puka for sure. Tank Dell. Yeah, so Nissan, I love all that you're doing here, answering all these questions. That's awesome. Charlie, what's going on, brother? Sit one, Javonte, Achane, or Ramondre. I'm probably sitting Achane for these options, given how much more risk you have to absorb for Achane. But honestly, if you need the upside, again, that's the case with the risk is so real with Achane, but the ceiling is way better than any of those options, Charlie, better than everybody in the NFL. So it really comes down to it. You could definitely sit Javonte for Achane if you need that huge home run. He's far more likely to hit it than Javonte is for sure. So we were talking about that. You did draft really well, Corey Jones. Hey, what's up, Ian? Great to see you. One of the masterminds behind App.Rotobot.AI. Check it all out, guys. You got so many great questions in here. I don't know I'll be able to get to them, so definitely check out App.Rotobot.AI for sure. Nacua or Garrett Wilson. I would go Nacua over Garrett Wilson. Both bad matchups. Let's let the tiebreaker there be the better quarterback play for sure. Should I start Josh Downs or Rashee Rice? I love Rashee Rice today. Definitely getting more and more in the trust tree of Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. So let's let it rip. Norm Toscana, Mixon or Sutton in the flex. I would go Sutton. My guy's been a beast all year. I think Sutton is so underrated. I would keep rolling him out. Just trade Jess Downs, so expect a breakout, says Nissan Rob. Hell yeah. Got CMC. Do I play Ford or Achane or a other running back? I'd play Achane. Just go for the huge home run there, Jonathan Reardon. Absolute monster. Non-PPR, start one receiver and a flex. Deontay Johnson, London, Juwan Johnson, Dobbs, or Jameson Williams. I just go Deontay Johnson here, Chris. All the other options are pretty uninspiring. I'm excited to see what Jameson does today, though. The coach talking about bumping that roll up. Ooh, very intrigued for sure. But I'd start Deontay over him. Cup, Rice, or Ford. I think I actually go Rice over Cup in most cases there, Mike, and play it safe for sure. But yeah, we're going for Achane for sure. Non-PPR, start for Nissan Rob. I see that question. Chris Pena, start one in non-PPR, receiver and a flex. Downs, who plays non-PPR? Ew. Juwan, Deontay, London, Juwan, Dobbs, or Jameson. I would, in a non-PPR, I still go Deontay, though. He just barely missed that tight touchdown for sure. Got Ridley, Pittman, and Waddle for wide receiver and flex. No way I can get Ford in there. Yeah, I agree with you. I think you got too many good options. Ford versus Ridley may be debatable, but not these days by any means. Norm, you're going Sutton over Mixon, in my opinion. What's up, John? Need one, Olave or Rice? I would go Olave in that case. Great matchup against Detroit. Awesome spot for him today. And then Eckler, Warren, or Ford. I would bench Ford of those two running backs. Half PPR for Sarah Riley, Mixon, Nacua, Javonte, or Brian Robinson. A lot of options I don't love, but I'd probably go Javonte, and I would not bench any of the guys you're starting there, Sarah. I think you got it all right in that case. Jeff Wilson or Patrick Taylor? I'd go Jeff Wilson and hope for a blowout script where he gets a touchdown later. Montgomery or a chance? I don't know what that means, but I love Montgomery this week for chair or Achane. I'd go Montgomery in 90% of chances there. Stephon Sinclair over Achane. If I play McBride or Freiermuth, I would go Freiermuth, and Tank Dell's the fucking man. So yeah, absolutely. You roll with him. Giuseppe, favored by 8 points. Sorry for the language. Favored by 8 points, and I'm without a kicker. So would you start Achane or Singletary? I would go Achane and Rotobot. So it sounds like you got it working there, Giuseppe. App.Rotobot.AI for all you people out there. If I don't get to your question, you would definitely want to check that out. I would go Achane. Singletary is definitely safer. You're favored by 8 points. I would probably go Singletary, Giuseppe. Just play it safe. Let's see Achane make it through the game. Billy Bishop. Oh, we got that one at the super chat. Thank you, brother. So you've repeated that one a million times. I'm going to put you in timeout there, brother. Cody Davis, Jets defense. I would go Jets defense, but again, that preface of if you can keep the Chiefs for their playoff schedule, it doesn't get any better than that. Like you're down a power play. I don't know. I don't know what that means, Cat City. Ridley, Cup, Puka, White. Need one receiver and one flex. I would go Ridley and I would go White. Very, very safe today. White against that Carolina defense. Oh, great matchup for him. Hassan Moose. Who should I start as my second receiver between Cup, Higgins, or Dortch? I would go Cup. It is definitely safe. Safer to go. I guess Dortch might be the safest there, but Cup, come on. You're not benching Cup for Dortch there. Like, share. 111 people here. Need more likes. Let's go. Let's get this guy out there. Best advice and tools. Let's show some love. Thank you, Giuseppe. You're a legend. Mostert, Achane, Eckler. Need one. I would go Eckler. I think I go Mostert, honestly. I just let it ride. Aubrey is the absolute man, Cat City. I had Aubrey, too. I absolutely love. Warren or Achane, so hard to predict Achane's usage, David. Yeah, like I said, the ceiling is definitely Achane. Warren, I would go most cases, unless I was a heavy underdog. Achane, Singletary, or Rice. Pick one. I think I go Singletary most cases, but again, if you need the ceiling play, you go for Achane, but I would most cases go Singletary. Bijan, Mostert, or Monty for Jake Lewis. I would probably go Bijan here is my favorite one. A lot of great options there, Jake Lewis. I think you super chat that too. Tank Dell or Josh Downs because Tank has the tougher matchup. I'd still go Tank Dell. No way I'm benching him for Josh Downs. Sitting Dell for Olave. Have a bad feeling. You got to trust the gut. And honestly, I have them right neck and neck in my rankings, Sterling. So it's not, or Steven Shepard rather. So it's not bad. Start two, Deontay, Chase, Olave. I'd bench Deontay there. Original Eric. Figura. Everett or Tanner Hudson. I say Everett, but I also should have Figgy if you're still here. I like Brevin Jordan more than both. Russ Wilson or Jalen Hurts. Definitely Jalen Hurts, mass football guy. That's not even a question. Achane will smash. As long as he plays, yeah, top 5 running back every time he's made it through the game. He will absolutely smash if he makes it. Fly, Nelly, fly. 1 PPR, need 2 out of 4. Josh Downs, D-Hop, Pickens, or Jaden Reed. I would go here Downs, and I would go Jaden Reed as my favorite 2, Fly, Nelly, fly. Great question. All kind of similar. It's a great one for the App.Rotobot.AI. Check it out. Olave, big upside. Yeah, I love Olave today. And I would go Derrick Henry over Achane myself, but man, the upside is so real for sure. Need a defense this week. Rams, Saints, Titans. I would go the Rams there. Join late. Sorry if you already discussed this level of concern. If any, I don't have any concern. I'm just going to always play tank. Charlie is where I lean. Nico Collins or Cooper Kupp. I'm going Nico Collins, Caden. I would go Taysom over Juwan Johnson, Matthew CK. CEH is fat now. He sure is. Law firm is obese. Oh, man. I love it. Everyone hit that like button. Thank you, Lex Plant 70s. 120 a year. Definitely hit that like button for your boy. New subs would be so greatly appreciated. So many new names here. Help us climb to 4K, guys. It'd mean the world to have more and more of you here. White, Pacheco, or Kamara, sit 2. Oh, start 2, rather. Oh, man, I guess I bench White here, and I love him this week. But Kamara and Pacheco, I love even more. Why does anyone ask this guy's questions? He obviously knows nothing. Thank you, Bones. Awesome. Chargers, Rams, or Packers? D. I would go Chargers this week. That New England matchup is great. Is Chris Olave playing? He absolutely is, for sure. Steven, I have an RB build, so I know you have to read law firm. Yes. Achane, Mostert, Eckler, need one. I would probably go Eckler here and see how that all shakes out with Achane today. But, man, Achane, again, the highest upside play that you could possibly ask for. So I'd go Eckler and see if he gets himself healthy for sure. Kyler or Love, I would definitely go Kyler there. And Wolfpack, that is the timer there. Oh, man, we're getting close to the end of this mailbag. Looks like a lot of you guys are kind of helping each other out, which I absolutely love to see. So start Bucks or Browns, D. I would go Bucks today. I love the matchup for the Bucks, but I would not drop the Browns. They are such a good defense for sure there, Patrick. And Wolfpack, this has been such an amazing show, a record-setting, over 120 of you with us, and over 150 at one point. This has been such an incredible morning. So greatly appreciated you guys being here. This is awesome. I did want to pump it out one last time for you all because I can't get to all your questions today, but hopefully you can check out App.Rotobot.AI. It's a new pretty much chat GPT essentially for fantasy football, your 24/7 fantasy football guru. I asked it, should De'Von Achane, should I play him today? Because that's been the question of the day. De'Von Achane, should I play him? And it pointed out that the Dolphins face the Commanders, the 11th best matchup for running backs, giving up 20.3 fantasy points for them. He has a significant impact upon his return. He could immediately potentially accumulate 150 all-purpose yards, as he has done, as he's averaged in all his starts. 154 yards is his average. So the bot loves De'Von Achane. Obviously, it has its risk. If he takes one bad hit, he could get knocked out. But our bot loves Achane. AI knows more than us humans. But definitely check out App.Rotobot.AI. We'd love the more questions you guys can ask. If you log in today, we're giving away 30 free credits to log in today to try it out. All you got to do is sign up, check it on out, 30 free questions for you. And if you like it, you give us good feedback. We're happy to keep kind of replenishing that so we can keep getting good questions and good feedback from you. But 30 free questions today. If you log in, try out App.Rotobot.AI. It's such a great tool. We have such an amazing team working on this. It's months and months of hard work. It's our baby, and we really appreciate anybody that can get on there. We hope it helps you out. You guys would definitely help us out by getting on there, submitting feedback. It works on mobile. It works on desktop, and it's just going to get better and better the more and more we get you guys on there. So thank you so much for being here, Wolfpack. Again, check out App.Rotobot.AI. That would mean the world to check this out. Help us out on your way out. If you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button. Again, I apologize I couldn't get to you all today. So many amazing questions. Such an awesome show. And one last plea as well for shop.rotostreetjournal.com. If you want some merch for your holiday season here, for your fantasy, if you want to punish your last place loser, check out fantasy football, shop.rotostreetjournal.com, where we have all the different collections here. We have your Roto Street Journal swag. We have your I Suck at Fantasy with the crying Jordan, the doofus Eli face, the Shane Bell lady, to punish your last place losers, all this good stuff to really help you guys out. And if you want, again, De'Von Achane, the guy of the day, I wrote him up today on rotostreetjournal.com. It's where all my rankings are. It's where it all is. So app.rotobot.ai, shop.rotostreetjournal.com, and then rotostreetjournal.com. It's where we breed and feed you fantasy wolves. So many new names in the stream today. Please do consider coming back. We answer your questions 4 times a week live. This has been such an amazing show. We greatly appreciate you spending your Sunday morning with us. Thank you so much on the way out. Thumbs up, like, subs. You guys are the best. Best of luck in week 13. Get those playoff pushes down, guys. Get on into your playoffs. And in a world for fantasy sheep, guys, be that wolf. Best of luck today. Get it on done. Later.